What's the crack? It's your boy Teriak. Back at it again. We're a bit of film room. Today we're doing the film room, of course. Shout outs to William as well. William was saying, bro, you gotta do some Crowder. When was the last time we done some Crowder on the Mystery Van Files, as they say? So I was like, 100%. So William sent me over some of the good stuff, as they say. Hats off to you, sir. Thank you very kindly, William. I'd basically lose my head if it wasn't for William. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd literally, like, I wouldn't know where. I'd wake up in the morning, I'd be like, where the fuck's my head? You know what I mean? Like, that's how bad things are in terms of my short-term memory. Long-term is actually surprisingly good. You know what I mean? To say the least. And, like, the weird thing is that it's like I have bad memory, but when it comes to, like, recalling stuff, like, in a live debate, that's one skill that, like, I don't know where I've developed it from or how I even developed it, but it's something I've noticed that people aren't able to do. But like I'm surprisingly able to do it as well. You know what I mean? And we got William in chat. I was waiting for William in chat so we could finally play the clip, ladies and gentlemen. The boys are back in town. Welcome back, and we got the raid. We got to play the raid clip. Hold up. Welcome in. And because easy, of course, we got to make sure that we start the episode with some logic. And who better else to teach us the logic than our boy Easy?
Well, hang on, stop. Let's start with this. What are the 3 laws of logic? What are they? No, don't look them up. What are the 3 laws of logic?
Do you think this is an inconclusive
What are the 3
statement?
laws of logic? There's 3. What are they?
I don't fucking know.
You don't know the fucking laws of logic, dude.
All right.
No, all right, dude. I don't know where. You don't even know the 3 laws of logic. This is fucking crazy. You're fucking crazy.
Do you want to ask Speakeasy if he knows?
Yeah, it's the law of identity, the law of non-contradiction, and the law of the excluded middle.
His name is John C.
Anything else, dipshit?
Beautiful. You love to see it. We have Alexander saying, I give Trump the benefit of the doubt. I trust our military, but I don't have enough information to know if the war is just. Well, you know what I mean? Like, is there like, there are justifications for it, but like to evoke the word of like just, is it like righteous? Is it a righteous war? Like, I would say so, but many people have different ways of defining that. You know what I mean? So it's difficult to pin down. We got Prince of Dog as well. Welcome in, sir. Welcome in. We got Schleprock as well. Welcome in. We got Chaos Nova. Welcome in. We got Starship Alien saying, hey, all the boys and gals are back in town. Hell yeah. We got Spartacus saying, hi, bye. Sorry, guys. Super back tonight. Got it. No worries, my friends. Appreciate you stopping in. You know what I'm saying? We got To Watch Vid saying, ayo, retard supremacists are back in town. My man. I'm here, drunk. These streams were awesome last week. Everyone told their ghost stories. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. And shout out, like I said, to the Mystery Van Files series. I highly suggest you go back, especially the first episode, the Black Dahlia one. Holy fuck. You know what I'm saying? Have a good one, Spartacus. What's with all the gayness in here? Unbelievable. Shantae's here 2 minutes and she's already roasting us, chat. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, Shantae. Appreciate you kindly, Shantae, as always. We got Ruler 2 as well. You got to use the emojis. Become a member if you want the emojis. You know what I'm saying? The fog of war, we'll know at the end of it through that. And this is what I keep kind of like, the counter proposal I keep saying to a lot of Americans. Like, I even kind of like gave this to Easy as well. Like, what if I told you that like the result of this war will be that America actually pays off its debt? That like $35-40 trillion debt, if they wipe that out from this war, because the Iranians will owe America reparations for liberating them. So, you know what I mean? And Iran has $25 trillion worth of natural resources. Probably more because of all the price spiking in the stock market as well. So, and then if they were all to funnel that into, let's say, Bitcoin, for example, you know what I'm saying? I had a whole conversation with Vintage about that one as well. You know what I'm saying? Oh fuck, she's in here. Might have to say the bully. Exactly, Spartacus. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? You got to bully them. I came, jocked the light, but I'm head to bed. No worries. Appreciate you stopping by, Pink Nuggets. Chat, don't forget to donate through the PayPal or Ko-Fi. The PayPal and the Ko-Fi have been popping off recently. So, again, really good to see, but keep up the good work, ladies and gentlemen. There's no chill cheese fries. Like I said, bacon are better than fries. Any day of the week, I'll take bacon over fries. You know what I'm saying? Have a good one, Spartan Tony. Fuck it, I'm not fighting autocorrect. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. And we got Chaos Nova with the $2 says, play Shantae's acting trial. We need at least a $5 donation for that meme, okay? We got moves you can use. You know what I mean? We got the meme clips, $5. We also got a specific topic or a song. If you want me to, you have a particular song that you think is funny, like let's say Wet Ass Pussy, you know, by the philosopher Cardi B. You want me to read those lyrics out in a funny accent, maybe? Only $20. If you want to play the, if you want the specific topic as well, it is only $20 as well, folks. And William's saying, yeah, don't play. Yeah, no, we ain't cheap. We ain't cheap. You know what I'm saying? I guess I got to stay now. Shit. Even Lady Balls are saying, come on. Don't be falling asleep. But this is the thing where I'm kind of like, I'm kind of torn. It's like, I understand like wanting to sleep, getting early night, all this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Sleep's underrated, boys. You know what I'm saying? Fuck, William doesn't want to see me succeed in life. Hey, it is what it is. It is. Everyone going to say, nah, we're about to get into it. Because like I said, Haku. Shout out to Haku. Because he's actually kind of like led perfectly into like what we're going to be covering today. And we got Chaos now. We're saying, all right, fine then. It will cost more. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, that's a premium meme. That is a premium meme because it's, it's like 40 seconds long. You know what I'm saying? So, William, let me know. Because technically, Chaos has paid $7 so far. So, let me know. See, now Jack's going, what's going on here? Jack, stop bullshitting me. Jack's just saying that to troll me. You know what I'm saying? Jack's been, I don't like the fact that, like, the way Jack, like, he's coming out of his shell. I appreciate that. But, like, he's learning too many tips from Shantae. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, that's fair point. William's saying, no, that clip is a special clip. So if there's any others, right? And like I said, I do have many others here. I've got new ones as well.
I'm scared to death. I'm frightened and I don't know what to do. I'm confused and I want to go home.
I've got plenty of memes, so let me know, Chaos. Let me know. Hey. Put it away, Hubert. Welcome in, Hugh. Welcome in. Pull up a chair. Tarek has the best streams. Let's go. And we got Prince of Dogs with the $25. I gotta play a shredding clip for that one. Holy. Amazing. One sec, let me find it. Bro, all my memes are all fucked up. Here we go. Are we having fun yet? Jack Blaze at $25. And just to let you know as well, folks, okay, if we hit the daily goal today, it's going to be a bit of a surprise. Something we never usually do on the film room. So just to let you know. Yeah, no, that's my fault. Like I said, Shantae, I'm kind of retarded. Okay, my mom took Tylenols. You know?
From doctors, nurses, and pharmacists to moms, dads, and caregivers, they have all put their trust in Tylenol.
You know what I'm saying? Please be patient. My mom did take Tylenol. Okay. Okay, folks. I do fuck up from time to time. I am human. You know what I'm saying? Kick Jack out of here. It's ruthless. It's ruthless, but we love to see it. You know what I'm saying? For $20, can I change the top? Bro, I know nothing. I know less than nothing about NBA. Like I've literally haven't a fucking clue about it. You know what I'm saying? Dogs lighting up. Exactly. Exactly, folks. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And Sparty saying, hey, that's my clip. Bro, you wish you could shred that hard. I wish I could shred that hard. Holy shit. Amazing. Especially when he does the whole like all the way up the guitar neck. He's continuing to shred. It's unbelievable, bro. How much for panel? That's now that you mentioned it, sir. You know, that's what we're saying about the daily goal. You know what I'm saying? If we hit the daily goal, we'll open it up, even though we don't usually do it for the film room specifically. We'll make an exception because we are going to be going through a lot of the stuff that Haku was saying. I was like, chat is popping off. We're never going to get to the videos if we keep going down this path. So one sec, let me the Jello Manifesto. Hey, my man. You know what I'm saying? The epitome of lady balls is men competing in women's sports. Facts. Starship Alien. Facts. We need to get men out of women's sports. And I'm talking about the transgender. We have this. How much is the premium? Again, I actually don't have a premium price. Chaos. Like the premiums are if we hit the YouTube goal or if we fend off the griff breaks. So we've about 30 minutes left on that goal. That's when we get the premiums. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, 100%. William, I seen that too. Haven't been able to see anything Lady Boss says. Hey, it is what it is. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? And then I think we're all caught up. No, we're still scrolling through. Are you guys just intentionally chatting on purpose so I don't get to the... Because like I said, William went out of his way. Like William actually was like, nah, bro, we need to do a bit of Crowder because we haven't done Crowder in a while. And he actually handpicked these clips as well. Like I said, it ties nicely into what we're talking about on Easy as well, just at the end with Haku. And like I said, it was actually the fact that like Haku is like Vinny from PBD. It's like the same argumentation styles. You know what I mean? Like, you know the way in boxing you have like fighter styles and all this kind of stuff? It's the same thing that like Vinny does. So like, I know like Haku kind of like grinds people's gears the wrong way and all this kind of shit. When you actually listen to the points he's making, sometimes he actually makes good points. And then when you actually do give him a decent counter, he actually does agree to it. You know what I mean? Which is a rarity. You know what I mean? So don't be throwing the baby out with bathwater when it comes to Haku. You know what I'm saying? If you ever go on panel, please keep your avatar the same here. It was distracting last time you played with it here. Yeah, true that, bro. Like I do appreciate the memes, but like when we're here, we want to be professional. You know what I'm saying? We want to keep things what would be the word? Static? Is static a good word to use? Yeah, static. Well, fuck it, we'll go with static. You know what I'm saying? Jante, the hate is unreal. It might be unreal, but Jante would probably argue it's justified. I'm not. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's like Roasters Anonymous. You know what I'm saying? Give me Andrew Tate then. Okay. Beautiful. Because our boy Haku, oh my god. Our boy Chaos Nova says, Abdul, get the motherfucking rocks. Where is it? Wait, what? Oh, for fuck's sake. One sec. I need to find that in my bag of memes. That one's not loaded in. Oh my god. No, that's not it. Oh, there we go. So while we wait for that to load in, I need to catch up on the chat because the chat is on fire. I don't mind at all. I'm not everyone's cup of... Hey, it is what it is. Fuck the haters. You know what I'm saying? Because haters gonna hate.
Haters gonna hate. And ain'ters gonna ain't.
That is not an actual thing people say.
Bunch of ainers. You know what I'm saying? Just call them ainers. You know? I say women want equality, so let men play against them. Nah, man. Nah. Fuck that. For realsies. You know what I mean? The message. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. You got to make sure that you have live chat selected. YouTube does like the most retarded thing where it's like it'll automatically have your chat set the top chat, and then you have to manually select the live chat. It's so retarded. Don't even get me started on YouTube features. And just to remind us all, YouTube, if you're using YouTube on an Apple device, okay? And I didn't notice, so again, shout outs to Jeremy for letting us know about this. If you're using an Apple device and you send a super chat, let's say you send $10 on the super chat using on your iPhone, you're watching the stream on your iPhone. You send $10 super chat, we only get $4.90. Because what happens is 30% goes to Apple, then 30% of the remaining goes to YouTube, and then we get the $4.90. Like $5.10 goes to Apple and or YouTube. It's ridiculous, bro. It is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? But where am I in chat? Where am I? Am I caught up yet? Oh wait, no. Where am I? Yeah, VK avatar. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like you work so hard to get the VK avatar. Why? Like you got to. Because even like I said, one sec. I'm pretty sure that I usually do it. Yeah, if I was to do this, see the way like my profile pic is automatically my VK character. You know what I'm saying? You got to show off the VK cred. You know what I'm saying? You got to have that street cred, bro. You know, Abdul, get the rocks. It's finally loaded in.
Yeah, get the rocks. Get the rocks.
Gotta get those rocks, man. You gotta get those rocks. And shout out to Alexander. Get me a shitty cursed meme. Wait, which one's that? A shitty cursed meme. What about this?
I'm not gay no more. I am delivered. I don't like men no more.
Would that do? Let me know. Let me know, Alexander, if you want potentially better one, you know what I'm saying? Ainers are furry lovers. That is true, Chaos. That is true. Wow, only used Apple device for work. Fuck them. But that's what I'm saying, Starships. I didn't even know that. You know what I mean? Fuck Apple. Exactly. Exactly. Jante, no, why would you say that? Jante's ruthless. But like you have to respect the ruthlessness. You know what I mean? You gotta respect it. I'm out, legends. Have a good stream. You too, Hugh. Have a good sleep, sir. Well, so cozy how Apple and YouTube can manipulate the money from super chats. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. But like I said, I'll be basically ranting all night if I go on YouTube. Like even just the super chat feature alone, like the goal thing that they do is the most retarded shit I've ever seen in my entire life. They don't let you just set an amount and work towards like a raw amount. It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? Not today, Satan. Appreciate you. Purple and yellow clothes, you gay. Got news for you. That means you gay. You know what I'm saying? That was perfect. My man. You, good night, asshole. See what I'm saying with Shante? You gotta respect the hustle. You gotta respect it. You know what I mean? But good night, Shante. See you tomorrow. Take it easy, Pink Nuggets. Have a good one. I even have a meme for that one as well. We got a little bit of... Oh, no, I got rid of that one as well. Holy shit. Man, I need to sort out these memes. Oh, wait, no, I still have it. A good day. A good day.
A good day to you. All right, Fez. I said kiss my ass.
A good day to you, sir. I say good day. You know what I mean? Because I'm a foreign kid. You get it? Like, I'm basically like the Fez of the group. You know? Like basically, like, you know, think about it. The boys are all having a debate. We have like a panel, all this kind of shit going. And next thing you know, fucking Leprechaun hops on. He's like, wait, where the fuck did this come from? I thought we were all Americans. You know what I'm saying? Jonte, Pink Nuggets is going to... Oh, my God. I'm just getting into the clip. I'm getting into the clip because I caught up on the chat. It is what it is. Now, I made up my mind now, chat. It is what it is. But anyways, right? You're probably going to hear... or you probably already heard, or like a typical kind of like conversation that you're having with this whole kind of like Iran war, just like Trump in general, just America, all this kind of stuff, would be Trump campaigned on no new wars, right? Which can be true, but, and we're going to get into it, if let's all of a say like Russia invaded Taiwan or China invaded Taiwan, not Taiwan. If China invaded Hawaii, would that be, a new war? You know what I mean? Like what would Trump do in that situation? Well, we just have to give them Hawaii because I said, or I campaigned that there's going to be no new wars. Do you know what I mean? Kind of a ridiculous thing to throw around, but we have a clip here. You know what I mean? Leave the fuckers to the mods. We got it covered. My man. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm saying, folks, you know what I mean? We got good people here, Appreciate you kindly, sir. But like I was saying, we're getting into the video because we're already 40 minutes into the show and I still haven't even started the first fucking video. This is unbelievable. And I paused too much apparently anyways as well. I was watching Jake's stream earlier and the chat was calling him out for pausing too much. I was like, God damn. You know what I'm saying? I don't even pause that much. Sorry, Jake doesn't even pause as much as I do. You know what I'm saying? So it puts things in perspective. You know what I'm saying? Love to stick around, but my ADHD level too low. Hey, it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. Appreciate you kindly though. And don't be afraid to leave the like and the sub and all the stuff. Appreciate the $9. Folks, we're 40% of the way there. If you want an open panel, if you want to start talking shit. But let me get into the videos first. Golly. Right, so this is Trump in 1980. In 1980. And you might remember this because this is our outro clip. This is from the same interview I was having. This is 1980. This is 46 motherfucking years ago.
He sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking, is a horror.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes.
But this idea that he betrayed his base, it's not President Trump's fault. The truth here, it's not President Trump's fault that you weren't paying attention. So let's go, by the way, through some of the claims and truths out there because there is propaganda on all sides. It's time for Claim Truth. Here are some of the primary claims that are being made out there. Check the references, links in the description. By the way, we're live 11 a.m. weekdays, period, if you're watching the clip. First claim. Sorry, Toolman, I know I had a bunch of other things for you. Here's a claim that I see out there. Only the Jews, and I want to be clear, not just the Jews have an interest. Only the Jews have an interest in castrating or overthrowing the Iranian regime. Only the Jews. That's the claim.
I don't think we should be fighting wars on behalf of Israel, and many Americans agree with that.
No one should have to die for a foreign country. I don't think those 4 service members died for the United States. I think they died for Iran or for Israel. And this feels very much to me like it is clearly Israel's war.
There are a bunch of people in the U.S. government who do not put the United States before the interests of Israel, period.
Okay. And then I want to get to you in this, but here's the truth, okay? Of course Israel has an interest in that. But many other parties have a vested interest here, including the United States, which is paramount. But all of the Iranian people around the world, when you see these, diaspora, and pick a country, are they paid by the Jews? The G7 nations. It's a joint statement reaffirming that Iran can never have nukes. Other nations, and Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, and even Jordan.
I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
I would too.
And one of the primary benefactors, you could say here, is definitely the United States. Iran has had a problem with the United States going back, as long as we can remember, but certainly starting 79 where they declared war, and they've redeclared war against the United States, killed thousands of service members in many of our bases with no intention to stop. So yes, Israel does. The myth here, the claim that is false, is that only the Jews would have an interest. Now, you may not say that these interests warrant the action, but to say that there aren't other interests outside of Israel is disingenuous, in my opinion. And you also on Megyn Kelly.
Yeah, right. And a key thing here to recognize is Saudi Arabia is against Iran. Qatar is against Iran. UAE is against Iran. All these like Saudi Arabia literally governs based on Sharia law. and they were against Iran in this situation. So like this whole myth, and like, if there's anybody in chat, like don't get me wrong, like I understand how the propaganda gets into you, and they phrase certain things or certain historical events in a certain way, and they don't give you the full picture. And then next thing you know, like all you see is just like, well, no, Jeffrey Epstein was a Jew. You know what I mean? And it's like, that's the other thing as well. Like we're all so pissed off about and like outraged about Jeffrey Epstein, right? One fucking dude. When we look at like Britain getting raped, France getting raped, Germany getting raped, like all these little girls getting raped in these countries, we don't seem to give a fuck about that. And like that's happening en masse. You know what I mean? Like where's the outrage there? Like it baffles the mind. But to go back to it, like what, like are you to really tell me that like Saudi Arabia, who governs based on Sharia law, is somehow owned by the Jews or Israel? It don't make no more fucking sense. You know what I mean?
You know, even if it's not just Israel's interest, but even if it was, saying that these American soldiers are dying for Israel, you don't get to say that. I mean, you do get to have an opinion, of course, sure, but you don't get to decide what these soldiers are dying for. Only the person who raises their right hand has the ability to decide what they're dying for. They die with that flag on their shoulder. They're going to have a flag in their casket. They didn't die for Israel. They died in service to their country. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Don't use soldiers. Stop using soldiers for your agenda. Stop using soldiers to push your slant.
Yeah.
It's a terrible look, and it's.
Well, that's the thing too. A lot of people use the word never-ending wars. That's a new term. Okay, I understand the concept of it, and I'm against that. But if you could poll the military, guarantee you would see overwhelming support because they've known and had to deal with Iran for a very long time.
We'll see with recruiting numbers here in the next quarter.
Yep.
It'll be a great indication of how people feel.
Yeah, we'll see if recruitment numbers go up in dealing with the Ayatollah, with the camping out at respawn kill, or if it did better with 2 mommies in transition surgery and stretchy maternity suits for female pilots. We'll see which one appeals to those who you want in the military. Next claim that I see made out there is that President Trump betrayed his base. Traitor.
I think the president has gotten very important.
Traitor. President Trump is a traitor and is doing this solely at the direction of the Jews. Like Adelson. This is everywhere.
I think the president has gotten very poor counsel, and I do think it matters politically that he was the No More Endless Wars candidate in 2016 and 2024, particularly, and this looks like an open betrayal of the base.
And even right now, Donald Trump barely has majority support of his own base. And think about it, last I saw it was something like 55% of Trump voters said like, okay, we'll support the president so far.
The most important definition, Chris, is that America First, which is what he ran on, which is the Trump brand, equals 0 wars. That's how voters understood it.
Well, look, if we actually had an America First foreign policy, which means not in the hands of Miriam Adelson and the Zionist lobby, if we actually had that, Netanyahu couldn't do anything about it, because Israel, with its 8 to 10 million people, cannot fight Iran with its 100 million people.
So why are they so concerned about Iran winning over Israel, all this kind of shit? You know what I mean? That's the question we got to ask. But first of all, got to give a shout out to Dogs. I'll give you a little bit of Pepe for that one, sir. Appreciate you, Con. We're basically halfway there, folks. We're halfway there already. Por favore. Well, let's get back to Crowder, because Crowder's going to spit some facts here, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, and here's the truth. I would be upset if I thought that was the only reason President Trump is targeting Iran as well. If I believed that he had done a 180, I go, well, yeah, okay, that is a betrayal. By the way, when he says no new wars, he's not a warmonger president. Peace through strength. Remember Venezuela? I will tell you this before I get to the truth. If this is what it looks like, not everything is comparable to Iraq. If it looks like Venezuela, if it looks like the Iranian enrichment facilities, if it looks like the first day or two that we saw with Ayatollah through rank 75 can be taken out in swift order, it's one of those areas where I'm going to trust the president's judgment, because I think there are a lot of people, a lot of bad actors around the world going, you can just do stuff?
Yeah, I think it's great for other world leaders to look at this and remember that it could be you at any time.
Right. But this idea that he betrayed his base, it's not President Trump's fault. The truth here, it's not President Trump's fault that you weren't paying attention. The truth, did we already hit the truth?
I'll hit it again.
Yeah. The truth is he's been clear on Iran since the Iranian Revolution. I've shown you clips from, I believe, 2015. I've shown you tweets from 2011. Here's one from 1980, where before President Trump knew that he would ever run for the presidency, he was expressing the idea of America first and how Iran needs to be turned into an example for the sake of America. You may not agree, but you can't say that he's changed his mind.
When you get the respect of the other countries, then the other countries tend to do a little bit as you do, and you can create the right attitudes. The Iranian situation is a case in point. That they hold our hostages is just absolutely and totally ridiculous. That this country sits back and allows a country such as Iran to hold our hostages, to my way of thinking, is a horror. And I don't think they'd do it with other countries. I honestly don't think they'd do it with other countries.
Obviously, you're advocating that we should have gone in there with troops, etc., and brought our boys out.
I absolutely feel that, yes. I don't think there's any question, and there's no question in my mind. I think right now would be an oil-rich nation, and I believe that we should have done it, and I'm very disappointed that we didn't do it, and I don't think anybody would have held us in abeyance. I don't think anybody would have been angry with us, and we had every right to do it at the time. I think we've lost the opportunity.
Now, here's why that's important. That's him in 1980 saying, the United States needs to earn the respect of the world, and there's nothing that anyone could do. We need to act like the leaders that we are, and we have the right to get our people back and set the tone. That's 1980. They say, well, okay. Do we see that reflected later on? Is it consistent with the Make America Great, America First values? Well, remember that famous escalator ride in 2015? That famous video, that famous image. Took that escalator down, and in that very first speech, reiterated his sentiments from 1980, from 2004, from 2011. You may not agree with him, but he's not a traitor. Here it is.
I will stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons. And we won't be using a man like Secretary Kerry that has absolutely no concept of negotiation, who's making a horrible and laughable deal, who's just being tapped along as they make weapons right now, and then goes into a bicycle race at 72 years old and falls and breaks his leg. I will be doing that. And I promise I will never be in a bicycle race. That I can tell you.
Now,
so no nukes in Iran and no bicycle races.
Bicycles are gay.
Yeah.
He's kept both promises.
Bacon gay, you know what I'm saying? But Shante, we're now officially halfway there, and we do have a premium meme. Folks, let me know which premium meme you would like. And again, the Shante clip is a special clip. It's not a premium meme. Just to be clear, like I said, I fucked up. My mom took Tylenol, you know what I'm saying? We got Starship Alien as well saying, wars in the Middle East happen for centuries. Sometimes Europe and the USA get involved, sometimes not. When we do, all hell breaks loose. War over land, pointless, but a forever war. But that's what I keep saying to Starship Alien. What if the outcome from this is, as Trump was pointing out, that the aspect that we're pointing towards here is that it's like this could actually make like America like the biggest oil influence in the world. You know what I mean? Like that would effectively wipe out the national debt. You know what I'm saying? You see. And then play one for Prince of Dog as well. Okay, right. So we got 2 premium memes to play around with, folks. Okay, so choose them carefully. Just to remind you all what the premium memes we have. We got Andrew Wilson. We got Uncle Joey Diaz. We got Dr. Disrespect to talk about me. We got Asmongold with the Schrodinger's gay. You know what I'm saying? We also got Patrice O'Neill. We got Easy. We got what else we got? I think that's it. I think I might need to add an extra one to the premium memes. You know what I'm saying? And mine, both mine. It's all Shantae. Shantae owns all the premium memes. She owns all the videos, all the memes. You know what I'm saying? Let me know, chat.
It's like a gay flock of seagulls in their spandex, availing their asses.
Genuine question, and we'll take your chats. Wherever you line up, can you honestly sit there and say that Donald Trump is a traitor? Can you honestly say that his stance on Iran, and I know people will pull up some tweets where they'll say Donald Trump said that Barack Obama would attack Iran because he was saying that Barack Obama had no balls, and so ultimately he wasn't able to handle negotiations. He was trying to say that he knew how to do the art of the. We have statement after. How far? We have very few people, by the way, on Earth, who we could point to and say has been that consistent on any issue. We're just fortunate that he was a public figure pre-social media, where we have his opinion on Iran in 1980. You want to impeach him, or you want to vote left or stay home during midterms because you think it's that big of a betrayal? That really is the question, regardless of your stance on Iran. You voted for Trump. He's the same guy from that 1980 clip, same guy from the 2015 clip. You willing to throw everything else away? Here's the next claim that I see people making.
Before we get into that, we'll play the Andrew meme, the premium meme. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is the one, the only Mr. Andrew Wilson.
I think that women should be grateful. They should be grateful. They live in the best society ever, and it's all built on the backs of not them. The air conditioning, which enables them to even exist, everything which allows them to exist in modernity is built by men, and they're the most ungrateful, snot-nosed brats about it that you've ever seen. And there's really no cause for it because they bring nothing to the table, none of them, including the old bags here who bring nothing to the table by their own admission except their and that, to me, is why, and when asked, this is all you get. I bring love and affection. You don't bring to the table. And that's why you can't even answer the damn question, no matter how many times we ask it. And it makes me sick because that is modernity.
Absolute mic drop and a half, folks. And a half. And like I said, that is something different. You cannot teach that. Yeah? Like what, like when people point to Andrew to say, oh, like he's just an influencer, he's just an entertainer. But then when you hear these stories about like these people who were genuinely turning back to Christ or turning towards Christ, you know what I mean? Like that's something that's not just like I'm influencing you with a little bit of propaganda or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like that is something like divine, for lack of a better word. You know what I mean? There's something that like magical about like that right there. And that clip particularly like shows you why you should still engage in the debate, even though like they're a bunch of bad faith liars and all this kind of shit, is because the truth will silence a panel full of liars. You know what I mean? Absolute legend. And again, shout out to Prince of Dogs for the selection. Folks, we still have one more. Shantae, I think, is the one that gets to choose. Or Shantae, if you want to hand it off to someone else, let me know. Like I said, we got Joey Diaz, we got Let's Talk About Me, we got the Schrodinger's gay. Let me know, folks. Let me know.
Well, Iran and Russia both had nukes, but so why don't we go after Russia then? You see this a lot. Collage C3 there, Applejack. And that brings us to a new segment, which we like to call Meme Check.
And speaking about a meme check, Shantae says, about time we talked about me.
Let's talk about me. Let's talk about the 6'8" frame, the 37-inch vertical leap, the black steel that drips down my back, aka the bulletproof mullet, the Google prototype scopes with built-in LCD, LED, 1080p, 3D Sony technology, the Ethiopian poisonous caterpillar, aka Slick Daddy. Let's talk about the cabinets right behind me that go 40 feet deep into the wall that houses the other 95% of my trophies, the awards, the certificates, all claiming first place, right? Let me give you a little inside glimpse into the hotshot video gaming lifestyle of the two-time international video gaming superstar. Because that's what this channel's about. That's what this domain's about. That's what the society is about. You're looking at the face of Twitch, and goddamn, is Twitch lucky.
You're looking at the face of Shantae, and goddamn, are you lucky? But anyway, folks, that should be the premium meme sorted. Is there anything else? If I'm forgetting anything else, let me know, chats. And also, Stephen kind of saying, any and all truth is such a beautiful, targeted, and endangered thing. Exactly. Exactly. These are. I'm not sure, to be honest. Like I said, I don't watch it, dude. It's just like that one clip that I've seen of him. I was like, God damn. Impressive bullshitting right there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. It's fun. And this is where we're going to actually address some very popular memes out there that get shared, because we go, this is a great point. It's not. It's an untrue meme. I don't care. I know that I know your boomer grandmother or mother might like actually have her meme forwarding office as though it's a part-time job. Right. It doesn't mean that it's accurate. So the meme, and I've seen so many memes out there. Well, if Iran has, what's that one? I'm attacking because they have nuclear weapons. Iran, why don't you attack Russia? Are you crazy? They have nuclear weapons. This has been shared out there millions and millions of times. People go, yeah, it's a great point. Points out hypocrisy. Here's the truth. Iran never had nukes, dummy. They didn't have nukes yet. Hit truth, tool man. Iran doesn't have nukes, dummy. That's the whole fucking point. The point is that they were past the point of no return where they could become the next Russia or China. You may not agree with it, but picture North Korea. We can't touch that crazy little Muppet bastard. Why? Because he has nukes, but they're a poor nation. So they're pretty much just isolated and off on their own. But think of the threats that you agree, China? China is a major threat as it relates to AI, as it relates to manufacturing. You think that the leverage of nukes helps? Do you think that, by the way, this is all part of the same problem? The Democrats' never-ending pledge to fund the war between Russia and Ukraine, which I am against, by the way. But do you think that Russia is less likely to come to the table and negotiate because they have nukes? The whole point here is Iran did not have nukes, but they were on their way. So we wanted to avoid specifically another China or a Russia with a much more, and I know this is crazy, I'm saying unstable nation, because it wasn't even run by a president, even if it's a dictator who's installed as a president or a prime minister, but basically second in command to God for this sect of Islam, the Ayatollah. You understand that, right? Iran was at 60% enriched uranium, okay, just to be clear. There has never been, ever, a non-nuclear state. There has never been another country that has passed the 20% threshold and not built a nuke. Do you believe that Iran would be the first? Answer. Answer. I really want an answer. Do you believe that they would be the first? Now, you can say, guarantee you Iran was going to build a nuke. We know that. All right. You can say, unstable regime, death cult. I still don't think it's America first to do anything. You can say that, or it's not the right time. Fine. Fine. But don't try and trot out your silly little tired shitty tropes comparing it to Iraq, because it's not some guy, or the IAEA, by the way, who said that Iraq did not have nukes, have said that they have nukes, because this has been an ongoing. People go, oh, they've been saying that they're going to get a nuke for 5 years, for 10 years, for 30 years. Yeah, because we've watched the percentage go. It's like watching your battery percentage go down. You can watch it go, oh, okay, they're already past 20%. This would be the first nation that's never built nukes. So when you see this meme out there, people go, that's a good point. Russia has nukes. And Iran, why do we treat one different? Must be the Jews. Everything about that meme is wrong. Do you honestly believe that Iran was not going to build nuclear weapons? And then, in combination with Marco Rubio communicated, we were about a year to a year and a half away, whether you believe it or not. This is the case he presented. We were about a year to a year and a half away from not being able to stop them at all. In other words, to get to the point where they could build the nukes completely unfettered, where we wouldn't be able to do anything with short-range missiles, with one-way attack drones, they were about a year to a year and a half away from that, where we would no longer be able to negotiate with them because we'd have no leverage. They could be on their way to a nuke.
And to be clear on that, we talked about this yesterday, but when they do operations orders and plan a mission, they take into account how many casualties they expect to lose. So it would be something we could do something about, but it would probably be over that threshold.
Very costly.
Right.
So that's I think that's what he means by that, is like we have the capabilities, we could have still done it, but we would have lost so many more people, and it would have been such a bigger event of chaos.
Well, and the point that I'm making here is, I will tell you, look, I support right now seeing what I support this action in Iran. I do. I think that's been carried out pretty effectively. I know things could go sideways. I understand that. But I am arguing against the case for impeachment or staying home on election because you believe that this is such a deep betrayal. Do you believe that Donald Trump pulled a 180? I don't think you can make a case. Do you believe that Iran was no threat? You believe they weren't on their way to building nukes? I don't see how you can make the case. You'd have to take a leap in faith that they would be the first nation to ever get to that threshold and not. They're such a good faith actor that they are not going to build a nuke. So my case is, do you really believe that this judgment call militarily is worth throwing everything else out? And that brings us to the next meme, because I see people going, the thing is, he hasn't done anything he's promised. Closed border, 95% reduction, nothing. 3 million deportations, nothing. Voter ID, nothing. I get some of them are executive orders, but you're going to say that this is nothing because you're making the case that there should be no MAGA, there should be no America First, there should be no conservative movement in this country, that Iran warrants the evaporation of it, because that's what we're facing, to be clear. I'm saying that I think we can have disagreements on this, and we still don't want to hand this country over to the left. This goes to the next claim. That is very, very lazy. All references, check the links. People will say, oh, it's a meme too. So Trump can bomb the Ayatollah, but not solve, insert domestic problem here, not deal with homeless, not deal with ICE protesters in Miami. Do you have this? Yeah, this meme right here. Mm-hmm. The U.S. government funding relief checks, healthcare, and infrastructure. No, the U.S. government funding the military. Okay, all right. So a couple of points here. First off, a lot of those images are from blue cities. When I see people on the right using these talking points, I'm just, just hit truth, because I'm going to go along with I had a whole bunch of things that I was going to say, but you know what? There's so many points. Those are blue cities. You think Donald Trump can control what happens in Philly or Portland? You think he can bomb Philly or Portland?
No, just targeted missiles at the homeless.
Right. And here's the other thing. You could give every single druggie and homeless person in those, you could give them $100,000 today. By the end of the week, you'd have the same exact problem. So this idea is very leftist, that if we just throw money at the problem, that'll fix it. Then we can also get to the budgetary issues, too. We'll get to that. You do realize $140 to $450 billion a year illegal immigrants cost taxpayers. $500 billion a year in fraud. Right? Like, you guys understand, like, these things need to be dealt with. We are not even close to a drop in that bucket when we're talking about the military. Here's the other truth that's really important, okay? For the same reason that everyone in the DNC and people like Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson are wrong when they say this is an illegal war, they're wrong. The president, on issues of foreign policy, the president is as close to, is not, but as close to basically a monarch as you get in this country. Yeah, he can bomb any insane dictator that he wants, to be clear. He can go out, he can do that. He has a window of time to let Congress, and even then, people will argue that's unconstitutional. You can see Donald Trump do it. You can see Barack Obama. Every single president has done something like this. He has the ability to go out and do it. On domestic matters, it's the opposite. The president is more of a figurehead, to be clear. It largely rests with the legislative. On the domestic issues, he has to deal with mayors and sanctuary cities and governors not cooperating with ICE. And governors also protecting illegal aliens. Then it has, how many times have you seen something go through the courts, local courts, all the way up to the Supreme Court? There are all kinds of mechanisms to create gridlock. What this proves is that when an administration is free to carry out an action unilaterally, it's far more effective. Iran enrichment facilities, Venezuela, even what we are seeing right now, if you disagree with it. Foreign policy, president has a lot of authority. Domestic issues, unless you completely want to do away with states' rights, because he'd have to go in and basically destroy blue cities, which I'm not completely against, then you understand why this meme is silly and it's stupid. It's like, well, this thing isn't perfect, so then we don't give credit for this thing. So it does matter. It does matter to be accurate. Also, one final, when we're talking about this, the first day of operations in Iran cost about $779 million, right? This was written up everywhere. But going to 700 sounds like a lot. That's 0.09% of our total defense budget.
Wow.
To be clear. So what that tells me is, hey, maybe our defense budget needs to be looked at because we could be doing stuff like this. What's happening on a day-to-day basis? In other words, we could spend a smaller percentage on a day-to-day basis at war in our defense budget than while we remain effectively idle. So to act like that somehow has anything to do with mayors and governors in Minneapolis, Minnesota, blocking presidential authority is to play into the hands of the left, along with saying that Donald Trump betrayed his base, along with saying that, well, only Israel would have an interest in Iran not having nukes or not being a global power. It's disingenuous at best, it's uninformed, and it prevents us from having the legitimate conversation as to what kind of military intervention, if any, is appropriate. But we shouldn't have this conversation based on lies and stupid memes that your grandma forwarded because she watched Tucker's newest episode and likes that he has spunk. This has been fucking meme check.
And like, this is what I'm saying to a lot of you Americans, that it's like, there's going to be so much shit that's thrown at you. Like, for example, like with the Haku thing, do you know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, Trump bombed a school full of children, all this kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? Like the aspect here is that like I don't want to get dragged down into specifics of like what is a psyop and what isn't a psyop and all this kind of stuff. But like fundamentally, like when we're talking about like just put it in perspective. It's like Tucker, what's the blonde bitch's name? The blonde bitch, like all these like prominent figures in media, you know what I mean, are just basically kind of like parroting the side of Iran, and like we're just kind of ignoring that, like the type of regime. And like this is what always happens in the Middle East. We only look at the perspective of we only judge America, we only judge Israel. We never actually judge these other states. And then when we look at what's going on in Europe, we still find a way to blame America and blame Israel over it. It makes no fucking sense. Like, what about in South America where you have like Hamas and Hezbollah setting up shop and headquarters and all this kind of shit down there? Do you really think that it's because they kept like because the South Americans were bombing the Middle East? Like, when was the last time the Europeans bombed the Middle East? Do you know what I mean? It's like anything and everything to just justify like this bullshit that's been going on. Do you know what I mean? And like from our aspect, it's like you either fight the war now or you lose your country. It's, like I said, it's kind of, I don't know, like how people, I suppose, yeah. Propaganda is one hell of a drug. But that's why, like I said, I go over the likes of Jason Giorgiani and all this kind of shit. Even though, like I said, he has a lot of harsh words, like for the Bible, all this kind of shit. But that's why I say it's like you're never going to agree with it, like everybody 100%. You know what I'm saying? It's like basically like from the aspect of being able to hear from like an Iranian's mouth, like this is what it's actually like. You know what I mean? Like you're going to hear all the stuff of like the regime, and you're going to like be shown a picture, and like that's going to be put into your head, but you're not going to see the picture of like the 70, the 80% of the population that not only are fucking finished with this regime, but they're finished with Islam full stop. You know what I mean? We never get the perspective of like, why is Saudi Arabia shooting down Iranian missiles, but they're not shooting down Israeli missiles? Why is Qatar doing the same thing? Why is UAE doing the same thing? You know what I mean? These countries are governed by Sharia law, and they still stand against Iran. You know what I mean? What about the 30,000 plus that were just wiped out of his own population? The Ayatollah's own population. They were more than happy to wipe out. And then we have to listen to Trump being a tyrannical dictator in America. Because one dude who put himself in the firing line gets himself shot, and they call that a quote-unquote execution. But then 30,000 Iranians gunned down by their own regime. Oh no, we need to get out of Iran. We like, this is unjustified war. Are you fucking kidding me? And like I said, it genuinely could be ignorance. Like I have no doubt that Dave Smith is pretty fucking retarded. You know? I'm pretty sure like Shiva's on the phone trying to get him as one of the members for the retard supremacist movement. You know what I mean? But come on. Like, are we seriously not able to put things into perspective here? And like, and this is the other thing as well. Like I keep trying to say to people, like, if the resulting outcome from this is that you solve your national debt, like, would we all be like, let's fucking get this done? Like, I don't want this shit to drag out for years and years and years. Like, if America, and I have a clip to show you of like what's currently going down in Iran, don't you worry. And like I said, anybody who's betting on the American military, you are going to make a pretty penny, sir. I can tell you that right now, right? But like, I want this to be kind of like Operation Moses. Like, that's what I'd be calling it. I'd be calling it like Operation Moses. In and out. You know what I'm saying? Like, one night. If we could do it in one night, we'd fucking do it in one night. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it oftentimes doesn't work that way. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, it's just that aspect. You know what I'm saying?
We just want to run a stinger one more.
No, it's fair. Yeah, you have to do it. By the way, really quickly, so as we were talking about this, the rapid response account that we had a problem with for clipping the worst context portion of that speech actually put out another post with the actual best portion of it. We don't have to play the clip, but basically in the text they say, you know, basically, did you go, they asked the question, did you go for Israel? And say Marco Rubio saying no, and then the rest of the answer. And it's like, that's the first thing you put out.
Right.
Don't have to come back and fix this mistake. Right. But at least they did.
Yeah. They get, it was a layup, and they allowed it to take place.
Yeah.
And that brings us to, people will be out there and they'll point out Israeli propaganda. I get it. Obviously that happens. And by the way, all nations do it, just to be clear. You don't think that two mommies in transitioning and sex change surgery in the United States military, you don't think that was propaganda from the Biden administration? And you don't think it's propaganda to varying degrees when this administration retitles it the Department of War and says we are going to be the strongest, fittest military? It's propaganda. Yeah. It's about getting your country to believe in the agenda and the direction of your administration. So all nations do it. And I don't think we should be following Israel's lead as far as their propaganda on anything. I don't think we should be sending them a bunch of money. I don't think there should be a blank check. I don't think we should be led into war if it's only in their interest. Period. I think we should be leading the dance in all facets, including trade, including AI, including militarily. And by the way, I think we need to rethink our European alliances. Spain now saying we're not going to let you use the bases that you have here. Hope you siesta with one eye open, you stupid faggots. Think about that, Spain. I can't believe that the United States would do. What? You can't believe that we might not need your permission, considering you haven't paid your contractually obligated bill for decades? It's such a moral wrong for us to deal with the regime in Iran that you are going to prevent us from using bases that, by the way, have also helped maintain the existence of your indefensible country.
A country that did not help at all.
Right.
In a bunch of different conflicts last century.
Yeah.
lucky to be in NATO in the first place.
Right.
Not kidding.
Right. So
What
a
did you
lot of nations have vested interest. Israel will put up, Spain wants to put up propaganda that, my God, they're a real country anymore. Kind of like Canada. But my primary concern is with a lot of propaganda coming from Iran right now. And the reason why that's a primary concern is because I see people who claim to be America first parroting propaganda from Iran with no semblance of fact checking or due diligence. Here's just some of it.
Is that an F4?
I like how they made Iranians look American.
Yeah. It's like Mexican soap operas.
Look at how much water we have.
All the water.
Look, our trucks are camouflaged.
Whoa, you will never see us coming.
No, you think it's a raspberry bush. It's a tanker.
Small people makes it look bigger.
Yeah, and here's some other examples,
It's
by the
green
way.
camouflage in Iran.
And there's misinformation out there, so it's hard to know what's true. My issue is with people who should know better, who know that it's hard to know what's true and simply want to be first or want to score pot shots against consistently the United States. So here's one out there. The United States and Israel hit a school and they killed a bunch of kids, bunch of innocent children. The United States, clearly, without the whole picture, without all the information, this was immediately parroted by Gavin Newsom and Jeffrey Sachs and the like.
We have to reconcile why our bombs were used or Israeli bombs were used to kill children, young girls at a school, and what the imminent threat was.
They're killing schoolgirls. No one even pauses. 150 schoolgirls bombed by Israel. No one even mentions these things. It's absolutely shocking, disgraceful, dangerous, bankrupting our country, and Trump lied.
Now you understand why Aku is coming on and saying this shit. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because that's what he's being fed. But thankfully we have Crowder, an American patriot, here to clear the thing. And also, no worries, Starship. Glad you could join. Like I said, folks, don't be afraid of the like button as well. You know what I'm saying? Get the likes up. Oh my god, I forgot to set the timer. Wait, no, the timer's fucked. I was like, gotta refresh the page. Un momento, por favore. So yeah, don't be afraid of the like button. You know what I mean? I technically did give you extra time for the next script break. Oh wait, no, I'll just do 4 or 5 minutes. Bada bing, bada boom. Like I said, YouTube needs to sort that shit out, man. I have to click the live chat thing again. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know what I'm saying? Nightsies, as they say.
And that was parodied by Jackson Hinckley, Dave Smith, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay. Here's the thing. I will tell you, I can't fact check it because at this point in time, it's still unclear as to whether the United States did that. My issue is with people immediately assuming that the United States did that and implying that there was some nefarious motive, immediately and consistently painting the United States as the bad guys who target innocent children. Someone does that, I go, oh, well, it doesn't sound like you're America first. Keep in mind that many of the same people saying, well, here you go, here's your America first, the United States military killing children, were the same people who were offended at the idea that the Israeli military go to lengths to protect civilians. I'm not saying the Jews are perfect. What I'm saying is there's an inconsistency in your level of offense when you're effectively calling American troops baby killers. Play the
As
clip.
an American, permit me a moment of outrage, because I said many civilians have been killed. Yeah. And you said, right in the middle of your elaborate defense of the IDF's killing of civilians, including children, you said they do a better job than the United States does. That's my country and my government.
It's
which
my
I
country.
consider.
What flag am I wearing here?
Well, I'm asking, why is it
What flag am I wearing?
Well, that's, of course, my flag as well.
And it's
a
my
US
flag. It's who I serve.
So why the dig at the United States in the
It's
middle?
not a dig
It
at
was.
them. No. You've totally misrepresented
What did
that.
you mean by that?
I did not take a dig at the U.S. What I'm saying
You
is
said the IDF is more humane than the U.S.
And by the way, I probably agree with Tucker Carlson on more things in that interview than Governor Mike Huckabee, to be clear. But if you're going to be offended at that and say, I can't believe that you would imply the United States isn't as humane as Israel, do you have the same level of offense for people who immediately go, United States, baby killers? Because you know who doesn't think that we're baby killers? The Iranian people all across the globe. All across the globe. Not saying that we should go to war for the Iranian people. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is the Iranian people probably would have the strongest motivation to say, hey, the United States, you're the bad guys. You're killing innocent children. Instead, they're dancing in the streets. So I ask you, why
Before
are
you go, Steve
commentators
Starship,
and
I didn't realize you donate on the PayPal. I think it was $7. Correct me if I'm wrong. So again, let me just play a quick clip for that one. That's my bad. Wasn't checking the PayPal. Starship says, fuck Apple and their elitist, useless security and collabs with far left extremist platforms. Salutes to you. And yeah, like I said, fuck Apple. Fuck them bastards. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you using the PayPal. I need to find a way of how to alert or how to get kind of like better alerts on the PayPal, because the Ko-Fi I have loaded up. All I have to do is refresh on stuff. But the PayPal keeps logging me out kind of thing. So I need to find a way to base that. Also, welcome in Mangoes. Hands up if you hate this beautiful Spurk. Jack says, nah. He raises you a toast. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you need Spurk, you know what I'm saying?
influencers who accuse anyone of disagreeing with them, the people who call for the impeachment of Donald Trump, the people who say stay home during the midterms, why are they always immediately saying United States military are baby killers and they're doing it on purpose? So I can't tell you if we did do this. I would be willing to bet if it did happen that it obviously wasn't targeted. And I would direct you to, again, what was a fantastic press conference from Marco Rubio. This is how one should approach the fog of war.
Can you tell us what you know, Mr. Secretary, of the administration knows about the strike on the building in southern Iran? The Iranians saying it's a school, reports of large civilians, including children killed.
Yeah, I've seen those reports. I don't have, I would refer you, not because I'm not trying to answer your question, but I don't want to get it wrong. The Department of War would be investigating that if that was our strike. And I would refer your question to them, and I'll make sure they're aware that you have that question. But we'd like to know. Well, clearly, the United States would not deliberately target a school. Our objectives are missiles.
Clearly.
Both the ability to manufacture and the ability to launch them, and the one-way attract drones. That would be our focus, and that's what we would be focused on. We would have no interest and, frankly, no incentive to target civilian infrastructure. The Iranians are, on the other hand, targeting civilian infrastructure. You guys have seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. They're hitting hotels. They're hitting embassies. They're hitting airports. They're hitting oil infrastructure. Well, it'd be very tragic, but I can't speak to the details behind it because I just don't have it.
I think that's a good way to handle it.
There you go.
By the way, I could present to you the other, which would also be propaganda, because some people are parroting this and they haven't done their due diligence either. There's an unverified telegram stating that Iran knew they struck their own school by accident, used it, or on purpose, used it for propaganda. That cannot be confirmed. So I can tell you that neither one is confirmed. I can also provide some context. The Iran Revolutionary Guard facility is located right next to a school. I can also provide you some context. The same people who immediately jump and accuse this administration and accuse American troops of being baby killers are the same people who blamed, for example, the IDF for that Al-Ali hospital. Remember that explosion? Mm-hmm. It was caused by Islamic jihadists, and they didn't retract it. Let me be really simple with this. If there is collateral damage, and there always will be in war, on the opposing side of the United States, with incomplete information, as an America First person, I tend to believe that the United States is more likely to be the good guys than Iran. That's my default position. Why is yours the opposite? That's my question.
That's the question I was basically trying to get to with Haku. Why is your default position that America is intentionally targeting schools. Like what's going on here? Like, why is your default position that it's like England, as an English person, that England is the bad guy? Do you know what I mean? Like, as an American, why is your default position that the Americans are the bad guys? And I don't mean that from an aspect of like, like let's get into a history lesson or whatever, because I can guarantee you, motherfuckers, that you have no clue what actually went on in World War II and like getting down into the depths of it and all this kind of shit. Because even the fuckers that like quote unquote know the narrative, you can ask them simple questions like, "Oh, if Germany was the Third Reich, what was the First Reich?" And they aren't able to tell you. They don't know. You know what I mean? So it shows you that they're at best they've got surface level. I don't even know the full story, but I know shit that's not in the official narrative. Shit that was clearly lies that was spread and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? But despite that, like, why are you still saying that like we're the bad guys? That nothing we do is justified? Like, what is making you say that? Or what would be the best way of phrasing it? Like, why is that your instinct or like your kind of like gut reaction? Like, anytime your country is involved in some military operation, that, oh, we must have done something wrong, or we must have been the evil guys or whatever. Like seriously, like think about like what is making me think anti-American thoughts. You know, we got Mangoes as well coming in saying, to be honest, I have no issue holding my country accountable for killing innocent children. However, there is a fundamental difference of intentionality, targeting, and accidental crossfire. 100%. But as was pointed out in multiple times, you know what I mean? We don't have all the information. It's an active investigation at the moment, all this kind of shit. But your gut instinct is like Easy's was saying, like, to be fair, it's Easy. Like, Easy's coming at this from like genuinely like the most kind of unbiased, I'd say, or just like trying to come at it the most objective way possible. You know what I mean? That's why there are certain aspects of this where me and Easy would disagree on. You know what I mean? Like I'd be like, nah, fuck this. Like I'm destroying this regime and any Islamists in the surrounding area. You know what I mean? Like I'd make it my fucking lifelong mission if I was dictator of the world or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? But even when you notice, like with Easy kind of saying, like, I'm not happy about like the fact that we're drawn into military conflict with Iran, all this kind of shit, and the potential of Israel and all this kind of shit. And again, like I said, like me, like that, like I disagree with that narrative and all this kind of shit. But even Easy's like, yeah, no, like I do not believe, or like his initial good instinct at least is not this whole thing of like, oh, America clearly intentionally bombed them, or they're going after civilians, or they're bombing indiscriminately, or whatever. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Also, it's hard to believe in a group of fundamentalist jihadists that peddle the same rhetoric they've used against Israel than when Israel invaded Palestine after October 7th. Exactly. Precisely, Mangoes. You know what I mean? Sure, you want us to believe that, don't you? Oh, I think Jack and Shantae are having a roast off. I wish you the best of luck, Jack. But like I said, she's like a ninja. She's like a ninja. Mango says, these jihadists chanted death to America and celebrated when the terrorists fell on 9/11. But this is what I'm saying, Mangoes. This is what I'm saying. Like, they're chanting death to America, death to Israel. They call Israel the little Satan. They call America the big Satan. And like they'll say, oh, they're misguided. They're misguided. They don't know what they're saying, or they don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? And here is the last king of Iran. Here's what he says about it.
Everybody is trying to say, well, let's try to understand these people who are killing, massacring others, the people they don't like, just like flies. But in my case, is to compare it to the most perfect government of the world. In the case of those kind of people, usually there is a tendency, especially in the most liberal circles in the world, oh, let's try to understand them. Let's establish a dialogue. This is something that I don't understand.
You do, I know we all took the piss out of America. We don't negotiate with terrorists. You know what I'm saying? But it's actually correct. You do not negotiate with terrorists. Simple, straightforward. That's how we're going. You know what I mean? This whole thing of like, let's understand these jihadists and try to integrate with the... What the fuck are you talking about, man? But they genuinely, like, and this is the problem. The more relativism, because you think, oh, like, if I just educate these people, that, like, all of a sudden they'll be friendly and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Like, they genuinely don't comprehend good and evil. They say good and evil doesn't exist. Oh my god, man. It's unbelievable. Also, shout out to Shante. I'll give you the farewell clip. Where is it?
A good day to you.
A good day to you, Shante. I say good day. I say good day. But do you see what I'm saying? Like, it's unbelievable. And, like, this is literally a fucking Persian or a brown person telling us, like, what you're doing as a liberal is retarded. It is retarded. It's like going up to, like, a fucking... Well, they actually do that anyway. Let's say it's like going to the psychotic person and it's like playing along with their fantasies. You're just asking for trouble. But they're actually doing that because they say, oh, men, this man who has a fucking beard is clearly a woman. How can you not tell that? It's unbelievable.
Why is yours that the United States military are the bad guys who are targeting children? And how can you logically justify your position? In comparison, not in a vacuum, to Iran and the Ayatollah, Satan rape his soul. Here's another one. Facts are still coming out, but there are people who parroted this. Why would people so quickly want to parrot a loss? The United States. Spoiler alert, not true. Iran struck the USS Abraham Lincoln. You know who got in on this action? You're in good company. Chinese state media with their propaganda.
当地时间3月1号下午，伊朗伊斯兰革命卫队发。
Now, folks, if you believe for a single fucking second that this is not AI, Mangoes has a movement for you. Okay? That's all I'll say about that.
第7号公告说，
Oh, they got incredible footage of this.
号航母遭到伊朗4枚弹道导弹袭击，伊朗武装部队对敌方军事力量的强力打击已进入新阶段，陆地和海洋都将成为侵略者的坟场。美国方面对此暂无回应。
Now, like, that is the China media. We also have Kim Jong-un. He made an official address as well.
And make sure all the school teaching the children how to be a homosexual and make sure they all teach about the transgender. So that is what important to me.
Yeah, like, we do have to break it up with the memes. I'm
Oh.
just saying, Chad. I'm just saying.
Oh, he split it in half.
I guess they had a documentary filmmaker there, and it was parodied by Al Jazeera, Russia Today, a bunch of other places, and of course the Black Pill, the dissident right. Here's the truth: the Lincoln was not hit. The missiles launched didn't even come close. That's what we know right now. The Lincoln continues to. This comes to us, by the way, from CENTCOM. The Lincoln continues to launch aircraft in support of CENTCOM's relentless campaign to defend the American people by eliminating threats from the Iranian regime. So it wasn't true. The issue is that was parroted by. Now, why would people, the same people who jump to accuse the United States military of being baby killers and Donald Trump of betraying their base, same people, by the way, saying that this is an illegal war, also be really, really quick to jump the gun and say, look, the Lincoln was hit. Iran is effective. Are you starting to put it together? Hey, do you like what you saw?
Are you starting to put two and two together? Like I said, just to like play an actual clip of what's going down in Iran right now, I've no way to describe like what we're seeing. Notice the blue shit. Like, what the fuck is that? I've never seen a bomb make a blue light. Can anyone explain that shit to me? Like, this is like next level technology that I can't even fucking describe what's going on. Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable. You know what I mean? But anyways, on to our boy Tucker Carlson. And again, just keep that question, what Tucker was saying, in your heads, folks. Why are people all of a sudden jumping at the bit to because we seen the video like of the of the ship getting hit. It was clearly AI. You know what I mean? Fuck, like GTA has better graphics than that AI video. You know what I'm saying? Blue light is a bomb taking out an electrical transformer. Could be. Another thing that I would say is that that light is typically from what would be like a nuclear bomb, but not a fission bomb, but a fusion bomb, which would and the difference between a fusion and a fission. A fission, I don't want to get into the technicalities, but basically a fission is what causes the nuclear fallout, and that's what causes the radiation and basically makes the area unlivable and all this kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? But a fusion bomb, it doesn't have any of that nuclear radiation. Do you know what I mean? That's why like fusion technology is so like things and all this kind of stuff. It's like it's only been theorized and all this kind of shit. But the reason why you'd want to use a fusion over a fission is that you can drop the bomb with mass damage and then instantly send in the troops. Whereas if you use the fission bomb, you'd have the radioactive fallout and you wouldn't be able to send your troops in. You know what I'm saying? But if they are dropping that level of technology, it's like, boys, give it up. I mean, even if it is an EMP, the mere fact that they have EMP technology is like you are vastly outnumbered or outgunned or whatever way you want to phrase it. You can see many examples of it happening in Iraq videos where they hit power neighborhood plants. Maybe I'm just theorizing. I'm just spitballing. Like I said, I don't know how to explain. I wouldn't be able to like see a video off a rocket land or whatever and be able to tell you the specific rocket model and all that stuff. I'm sure there like are experts that are veterans on stuff that would be able to tell you that. But for me at least, it's fusion is the atom splitting. Fission is the implosion. Fission is a thermonuclear, still creates fallout. Fusion doesn't cause fallout. Fission does, but fusion doesn't.
We can no longer be the sole author of terms, of commerce, of anything. We have to share power.
With China?
Of course, because of their scale. And so there's got to be a non-destructive way to do this.
You can put all this to rest by explaining why you tend to always side on these regimes' side. Why do you always come down on that side? Why are you always painting the United States as the bad guy? Why are you always pushing the best stingers here. We needed to do something to address a topic that many of you have been aware of, have been talking about, but lately have not been focusing all that much on. So let's start it off with this. The United States has had kinetic involvement in Venezuela and now Iran. First part, fantastic. In and out, really good. Iran, yet to be seen. Hopefully, I'll be able to report back at some time. Fantastic. If not, we can have a conversation about that. It's been a conflict, a proxy conflict with Russia for years now as well, with funding Ukraine and many other places. But at the center of it all remains our chief foe, if not now down the line, but certainly now is a better time to deal with it, China. Unfortunately, we haven't yet gone to war in the Pacific. Hopefully we never have to, but make no mistake, we are in a different type of conflict with China.
Of course you're in a Chinese time of your life. You don't have a choice. Your country is collapsing. Does your Chineseness end at squatting and chopsticks, or are you ready to examine what you've been taught? The U.S. will inevitably move against China, and when it happens, they will make China the instigator. And there's a reason for this. First, China proves that there is an alternative to Western neoliberalism and hypercapitalism. Second, it proves that the system can not only rival the global hegemon, but surpass it. So the U.S. pours billions into anti-China propaganda.
One sec, Mango's trying to call me out. Is it wrong? Fission is atomic explosion. Any atomic explosion creates radioactive fallout. What I'm saying, Mango's, is that they have a fusion bomb that does not require any fission triggers. That's what I'm saying with this. It's pure fusion. And I know your next comment is going to say, well, no, they don't have that. But my thing is that, like, I think they do. I think that's what we're seeing. But as other people said, it could have been EMP. They could have just hit an electrical grid, etc., etc. But theoretically, if you had a pure fusion bomb with no fission trigger, then you have that's like the perfect bomb, so to speak. And also, shout out to William as well, letting us know there's 23 minutes left, chat, for an $8 donation to avoid the grift break. Let's get it done. Let's see if we can get it done, folks.
And spends even more encircling China with military bases and then telling you
the Chinese Communist Party is evil and it is oppressive.
Yes, the CCP is aggressive and expansionist. The CCP conducts mass surveillance. The CCP oppresses the marginalized and kills its own civilians, things that could never happen in the West. Never mind that China has lifted 800 million people out of poverty, that the majority of China's current power capacity comes from renewable energy, that China's medical system provides universal coverage, that it is among the safest countries in the world, and 90% of Chinese people own their own homes. Yes, we're the oppressed ones, and we need your saving soon. We are approaching a world order where the West can't weaponize the dollar and the U.S. military, moral posturing in the English language. Even worse, that there is a world without the West. Vibrant economies and continents that don't need the declining European market and politically volatile United States. That business can be conducted amongst each other without the permission or participation of former empires. That their incessant lecturing is irrelevant and annoying. And while the West descends into civil chaos, with all the hallmarks of a sinking ship, the rise of populism, identity politics, unmanageable inflation and cost of living crises, they will point their finger at everyone else. And of course, there goes another $11 billion military package to Taiwan. And of course, we need to confront Chinese expansion in the South China Sea. Why the f*** is the U.S. in the South China Sea? So when the U.S. inevitably moves against China, remember then that you were...
Why the fuck is China buying U.S. land? You know what I'm saying? Also Mango's as well. What about these nets they have on top of buildings? We're going to talk about that? Nah, we never talk about that shit. Reed also says, could be wrong, but fusion bombs aren't a thing for some reason. Yeah, because fusion technology is like the ultimate form of nuclear. It takes it basically takes very little energy into the system, but it produces massive energy out of the system. You know what I mean? But it's very difficult to achieve because it's like you need, in order to cause a fusion reaction, you need like a lot of energy in terms of that initial, like think of it like a capacitor. You know what I mean? You need a lot of energy in terms of that initial, I don't know the word, but like the trigger or whatever. And then from there, you get like vast amount of energy from it. You know what I mean? But the reason why they're not a thing is because technically the technology is not there. But then we go back to that MIT professor that got shot by that dude. Fuck. God, how long ago that was. Sometime last year, I know I'm not really being specific of it, but it's like an MIT professor was shot, and apparently it was like unrelated because the dude also shot up a campus. But when you look into the details of it, it's like, bro, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. And like that actual MIT professor was the one who was saying, we're on the press of making groundbreaking breakthroughs in terms of fusion technology. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden we view this and we see one bomb land and it's like a red ball of fire, and then another bomb land right next to it and it's a fucking blue light, as if some like fucking Zeus himself threw down a fucking lightning bolt. You know what I mean? And what was what was Jeffrey Epstein talking about in that interview? Like, why did he move to that ranch? Because down the street, a bunch of nuclear physicists were being laid off.
In a Chinese time of your life.
We need a comprehensive...
Through each one of the stupid, false, lie claims here in just a second. But the first thing that I hope you notice about a video like that is it's not somebody sitting there giving you this information, showing you all the resources you need to be able to go and kind of research this. It's a social media influencer who spent a lot of time recording herself in completely unrelated situations to use as cover for a video, hoping you'd be more focused on it's an attractive girl than on she's lying to you. So let's get into it. 800 million, first claim, 800 million out of poverty. Half the country lives on $1,200 per year. So maybe you have a little bit more work to do. And most of that pulling out of poverty is just overall done at slave wages. So maybe they have a different level of poverty than we do. Another one, majority of China's energy is from renewables. Well, almost 20% is from renewables, and that's fantastic. I know you guys are switching over to a lot of solar. There you go, beating us in that game. Fine. Coal, 59%. Fossil fuels overall, 78%. And they depend more on foreign oil than ever before right now. See the Iran conflict and the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, and China going, hey, knock it off. Here's another one. China has universal medical coverage. I'm not sure how she makes this claim with a straight face. No, 3 doctors per 10,000 people. 10,000 people. And despite having a universal health care system, 30% of all healthcare costs are out of pocket. And the rural areas struggle to get health care. Now, I wouldn't be making all of these points just to like crap on them. I'm saying like it's hard to be a big country and to run these things and to get medical care out to the rural areas. But you made the point that you have free health care. I think Canada makes that point. In fact, I think Cuba makes that point. And just for everybody here, obviously, if I'm talking about China, I'm going to bring in one of the big guns. Lane the Brain is sitting over here champing at the bit to get into these. But I'm going to just keep rattling these things off. One of the safest countries in the world. What say you, Lane?
It's not that safe, especially if you're a child walking innocently outside of a school and an old man decides that it's time to end it all and run 20 of you and your peers over. So
that happens every week.
For reference, check out the Bollard Report.
The Bollard Report.
Bollard Report.
The people that make the Bollards, doing great. Yes. Fantastic business model right now. You pretty much have to put them everywhere. Those are those things that prevent cars from driving into convenience stores here in the United States. They put them down sidewalks.
And Target, you got the big red ones. That's what you'd be most familiar with.
That's exactly right. Another claim, 90% of Chinese people own their own homes. 860 square feet in China is $300,000. So maybe if they're on the tiny home show, that's true.
They all own the homes, but they all have massive debt to take it out. And it's the entire family that spent their life savings to get that one home that may or may not ever be built.
Exactly. They have a lot of ghost cities, too, that I remember seeing being built. And also they had a major housing crash. I think they had a couple of their major companies go bankrupt in the last couple of years.
Evergrande and Country Gardens.
Yep, exactly.
Very English names.
They really are.
Yeah, strange.
I wonder why they would do that. But out of all the other BS facts, can I just point out one thing? She didn't address the claims that she made, which was funny to me. She said, oh, they kill their own citizens. Oh, they do this. Oh, they do that. She listed 3 or 4 things. And I'm like, okay, well, she's going to combat that. And she's going to say, no, we don't put Uyghurs in camps. No, we didn't kill people during COVID and disappear doctors. No, we don't kill dissident citizens. No, we didn't lock people in their homes during COVID and weld them in and have videos of people shouting from apartments. We talked to a person who I think was over there at the time.
He just emailed me the other day. He's like, I'm out. I'm in Saudi Arabia. He made it. And now there's missiles flying.
Well, he's picking the bad places to go. It's his fault at this point. No, she didn't address any of that. She went to, we have healthcare. We have better energy prospects than the United States. We have better home ownership than the United States. We have better security, better this. She didn't address the things that she herself brought up. By the way, very bad strategy to bring up things that are real black marks on a society and then not address them. You didn't have to. That was a self-inflicted wound. But what I do want to focus on is one part of her.
By the way, just because China's being brought up and all that stuff, remember when I played that video? Where it's like, yeah, it ain't no way that China's population is like 1.5 million. Remember from that, I was like, well, when we think back to the Rona thing, you know, when we all had to stay at home and all this kind of shit, remember all that kind of stuff? And the fact that it was in Wuhan. Remember when I was like, well, the whole shit with Fauci was a bit dodge, you know what I mean? Like all this kind of stuff. And then I was like, well, there's rumors that like that was actually a bioweapon and like it wiped out. Like China saying there was 100,000 people that died from it, and I was saying it was 100 million. Reports are now showing that China's population is experiencing a significant and accelerating decline, with projections indicating a drop of over 100 million people. Food for thought.
Video in particular.
First, China proves that there is an alternative to Western neoliberalism and hypercapitalism. Second, it proves that the system can not only rival the global hegemon, but surpass it. So the US pours billions into anti-China propaganda and spends even more encircling China with military bases, and then telling you
the Chinese Communist Party is evil and it is oppressive.
Can we look at that map one more time, please? Yeah. Lane, to your knowledge, do we have a U.S. Base on mainland China?
Well, in best case scenario, it's on Hong Kong somehow,
still
or
don't have a
potentially it's
base
in Guangxi province. But last I checked, our military presence in China wasn't massive, unless Hegseth is really just kicking ass, and I wasn't aware.
It really
of it,
is.
But yeah,
you saw the cover there. She's like showing you her food. This is like a total Instagram models kind of page. I'm going to show you my food. It is a food.
That's what it is.
Else. I know she's
it's a food page.
It's all about food, except it's about China. Really, I love how she shows Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and then she goes on to. A man I don't like a whole lot right now. Sorry. It's just, the fact is, he's been wrong on a lot of issues right now. Ted
He's
Cruz,
in Cancun
looking
now.
at you. Don't worry about it. But with all of that in mind, listen, there are people that you hate it when people get paid to go over to any country and make that country look more palatable to the citizens of that nation. Okay, got it. I understand. To the nation they're from, right? Okay. We tend to focus on a particular nation for that, rightfully so. Are you paying attention with China? Because it's working. There are a lot of people out there, not just normies, not just your incels, not just people that are kind of casually into politics, not just your Trump supporters, MAGA supporters. No. There are people in media that are buying this, picking up on it, and parroting these talking points in general. So with that, let's take a look at Tucker Carlson and him discussing Taiwan with the editor-in-chief of The Economist.
The U.S. is not going to defend and cannot defend Taiwan. Now,
should not defend?
I don't know. Should I don't. That's something.
I mean, I'm asking you to lay out what you think are coherent.
I think we've reached the limits of our power, and power has limits. Like that's another thing just to keep in mind. Power is not infinite. You can squander it. And we're in the process of doing that.
And what about Japan and South Korea?
Oh man, it's hard. I don't understand exactly how that's going to go at all from an American perspective. But like, in the end, big powers want to and get to control their regions. We have something called the Monroe Doctrine. This was another problem I had with Russia. It's like Russia, of course, is going to demand influence in Ukraine. And you could say, oh, it's a sovereign country. They can't have any influence there. Be real. A big power wants to control, hopefully in a non-brutal, enlightened way, but they want some influence over their neighbors. We can no longer be the sole author of terms, of commerce, of anything. We have to share power.
America first, by the way. That's what these fuckers claim to be. Tucker, Candace, all this kind of like, oh, we're America first. And Tucker's here saying, well, no, we have to share power with China. We have to share power with Russia. What the fuck is going on?
China.
Of course, because of their scale. And so there's got to be a non-destructive way to do this.
There was a lot there. What part of the Chinese propaganda that Tucker Carlson seems to be parroting there stood out to you the most?
So give me a second on this, but the one that jumps out is his either fundamental misunderstanding or misinterpretation of the Monroe Doctrine, which was to but so that the United States would control the Western Hemisphere and prevent other powers from interfering in that. While we said we would not interfere with Europe's pre-existing colonial interests outside of the Western Hemisphere. So first of all, he has a misunderstanding there. Second of all, the U.S. foreign policy now and has always been is to be the hegemon in our region, which is the Western Hemisphere, while not allowing any other country, singular country, to dominate its region. So therefore, we don't let Russia dominate Europe, Eurasia. We do not let China dominate the Western Pacific. Because once you let those countries dominate a region, right now there's no hegemon in Asia.
Right.
There's no global hegemon, so we don't control Asia. We don't control Europe, but we have interest in those. And it's obvious that we have commercial interests, security interests, because we are a Pacific country. So what he's saying is we essentially allow China to control Asia. What that means for Japan and South Korea, I think it's very obvious. I don't think they'll be treated as peers or as equals.
Man, I don't know was his response. That's tough.
We've seen this historically, just like we didn't want to allow the Japanese to control Asia for the exact same reasons.
And still don't.
And we still don't. If Japan wanted to remilitarize and take over that, we couldn't, because 50% of the globe's economy is in that region. That means some of our biggest trading partners, where our crops go, where we get stuff from. It's vitally important. So if we follow the line of thinking that Tucker wants us to follow, and that starts with the first domino and not intervening in a Taiwan contingency, because make no mistake, that is the first domino to that first island chain falling, and then being able to project power into the Pacific and keep us out, we lose huge commercial interest, and we lose not only that, but prosperity in our own country. Read the book, read Elbridge Colby's work on this. He explains very meticulously how our interests being taken over by China in that region would materially ruin the quality of life in the United States. Because once they achieve their power there, what they are going to want to do is make sure that we do not have the capability to challenge that. So they will systematically weaken. And if you think they'll just let us exist peacefully over in the Western Hemisphere, no, we're not stupid. They're not stupid. Russia's not stupid. We're all playing the same game. Tucker just wants us to lose that game for some reason.
It seems like that, but it also seems like a big advertisement for government-controlled economies. And what we've seen with China is not a complete like Russian system where they're setting the price of everything, right? So it's not completely top-down. It's basically a system, and you probably have better kind of language for this than I will, but in a sense, there's an element of capitalism with heavy government control.
State capitalism.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. State capitalism is probably the best way to say it. And that's kind of the in vogue thing right now. Let the state have enough power to determine what kind of rights you can have through a social credit score, what kind of traveling, banking information you can, or banks that you can even be a part of, places that you can possibly go. Your life will be controlled, but in exchange for that, you'll have a relatively high quality of life. Now, hopefully is the right answer. You may want to kill yourself and or others because of how kind of suffocating that life is.
There's a phenomenon in China right now because the youth unemployment is so high where they pretend to go to work, and there's like WeWork set up for the youth to go to.
Sit?
They just go sit all day. They pay a couple bucks to sit in the room and pretend like they're working so their families don't know.
Jeez. That's the kind of thing, like it just feels like a big advertisement for that right now. And Tucker, this is not the first time that he's been parroting talking points of a country that we would look at and go, wait a minute, why are you doing, like, you want to take some of the good aspects from civilizations historically and currently
China
around
has
the world?
those now.
Yes.
To pretend they don't have anything going for them is a lot. Their engineering state is phenomenal. The things they can build quickly, we can learn from that.
Absolutely. But to go out there and start to say with definitive certainty that these people are doing this better, just like the Moscow train station, the Moscow grocery store, those propaganda videos, had no problem with the Tucker interview with Putin, thought it was fantastic for him to go do that, had a really big problem with him putting out propaganda for the Russians right after that. And it wasn't just this video, it wasn't just this sit down with The Economist, where Tucker, I don't, the grift, the being paid by, I have no idea why Tucker goes down this road. I have no clue if it's just for clicks or if he's being paid. So I'm not going to say either one, but I just know it's factually not correct. And I think he knows he's lying. But on top of that, there was another interview that he did.
I think it was a monologue that he had.
A monologue on his show before the interview that he did. So he plays this at the beginning of his show, his monologue, where he discussed similar things on China.
Now, it is a multipolar world. You've heard that phrase, no doubt, and that means there are at least a couple centers of gravity. Really, there are two. There's the U.S. and the constellation of states with which it's allied, and then there is, on the eastern hemisphere of the globe, China. And China is now a peer with the United States, at least, almost no matter how you measure it. Population, of course, much bigger. Military power, well, we're not quite sure, but certainly from a technological and industrial output standpoint, at least a peer. And then on a pure economic level, well, China has a bigger economy, a bigger real economy than the United States.
All right. That's just...
And again, Wayne mentioned it, and like this whole thing of like the games that they play. So like Russia does the same thing, like with the whole Ukraine thing, like the parallel was drawn, like America with the Venezuela, all this kind of shit. And obviously the same thing with China, Taiwan / Japan, and or South Korea, right? In terms of the games that are played, like obviously in terms of with like America does the same thing and all this kind of shit. But when you look at the American way of doing it, the American way well, I'll explain the Russian and the Chinese. Like basically, like their kind of like methodology. Well, the Russian methodology is like we'll just beat you with raw might. You know what I mean? Like we have the power and we will go for it. You know what I mean? Whereas when you look at the Chinese way of doing it, it's like, oh, we'll just like outproduce you. You know what I mean? And like drain you based on the economy and all this kind of shit. And then, like I said, by the time they're rolling the ships in, you've already kind of sold yourself out. And that's what you've seen. Like, Gio's not saying, I won't say it just to be safe, but it seems, if I were a betting man, I would bet that Tucker's the one that's basically, he's sold out, essentially. You know what I mean? But when you look at the American way of doing it, the American way is like obviously it has the might of Russia. It has the capability, at least, of kind of like not necessarily outproducing you, but putting you in an economic bind. Just what the result of this whole Iran situation is. Like China's the one that's suffering the most. 90% of the oil that China gets is from the Strait of Hormuz. You know what I mean? So while Iran doesn't directly give them 90% of their oil, that whole Gulf region is where it all goes through. And if that's shut down, it's hurting China a lot more than it is America. And you would say, well, China could also go, let's say, go down to Venezuela. Oh, shit. Trump already secured Venezuela before the shit in Iran already went down. Now do you see that this is not just Trump waking up one morning and he's having a mental breakdown or whatever, and now all of a sudden he's changed his mind, all this kind of shit. This has been 4D chess all along. Okay? So I keep saying to yourself, just trust your president. You know what I'm saying?
Factually incorrect.
Just wrong.
Just straight up wrong. And I've commented about this with Tucker's opinion. Anytime Tucker says, trust me, or it's just a fact, we know this, this isn't debated, he says that often, and he gives you zero links. He gives you zero backup for what he's saying. And he says it about things that sometimes sound outlandish and sometimes sound like maybe they're true. So let's take a look at the most kind of generous case that we can possibly make if he's talking about like the PPP, so the purchasing power and GDP per capita. And China's is 32.5% of America's. 32.5% on a per capita basis. If you take it as a total, it gets close to the United States. That's the most generous kind of case that we can make.
Total PPP would be the closest measure.
Yeah, absolutely. Just in real GDP, it's only 63.4% of America's right now, and that's down from 76.7% of America's in 2021. They're going backwards. I don't understand that. You want to talk about the military? We don't know. What do you mean we don't know?
We know their air defense systems.
We definitely know their air defense systems. We face them in other places.
And we know that that Xi Jinping just purged his entire military command leadership.
Yes, he did.
But their population's really big. Oh, except it's also expected to decrease by 100 million over the next 10 years.
Why is that?
Because of, one, very poor social planning.
Because of the the flu, the 2020 flu. If I was a betting man, hypothetically speaking, that's what I'd be betting on.
Under the one-child policy, but two, because it is so damn expensive for the average Chinese person to live. Look at the PPP right there, the thing Tucker's citing as their strength. It's so damn expensive for anybody to have a child. The government's now attempting to essentially coerce and soon, I would predict, force
baby factories,
people to have children.
Yeah.
This isn't to say there's not good things about China or everything about America is good, but he is just factually misrepresenting the reality of the situation. And I do not understand why he won't say, they do this well, they do this poor. We need to take them seriously, but here's the reality. He is not doing that.
No, he's not.
I don't get it, Gerald. I don't get it.
I don't either, but I do see a common trend. Talks glowingly about the Middle East, but really the Gulf states, right? Fantastic, safe. They take care of their people. I can leave my car keys in the Lamborghini and not fear that anybody's going to run off with it. Oh, that's fantastic. Qatar, greatest ally in the world. Greatest ally. Qatar, love Qatar. Russia, man, have you seen the subways? They take care of their cities. And I wish DC looked like this. These are loose quotes, by the way, from his shows. You can fact check me on it if you want.
Paraphrasing, if you want.
Paraphrasing, yeah. China, it's just bigger than us. At the very least, appear bigger, doing better, heading in the right direction, doing better with energy. Their military, technology, wow, kicking our ass. Every single one of those things. What do those countries have in common? What would we look at those countries and first pick out to determine whether those countries are good countries or not? How they treat their citizens, primarily. What kind of freedoms do they have? What kind of longevity do they have? What kind of industry? Is industry taking the lead and having the freedom in the market to go out and do what they think is necessary with some restrictions to make sure they're not taking advantage of people? Or is the government the one that benefits mostly from all of this, and then they kind of divvy up some of that? Every one of those countries that I just listed, we wouldn't look at and go, we want to be them. We don't want to be like those countries.
You know what countries he never meant? If I really thought this was constructive criticism of the United States, potentially he would mention anywhere in Scandinavia, Poland,
Fantastic.
Singapore, Japan, Taiwan. All those countries have the same level or higher levels of development than any of these countries, and much, much higher personal freedom, and they are all at least ostensibly allied with the United States. Not one of those countries outside of Qatar, which is, just do with it what you will, they are antithetical to the United States.
Yeah.
They are our rivals.
Exactly.
Which makes me really question his motives on this.
So why would you be pushing systems that are antithetical to what we believe here in the United States? But I'm a Christian and I love this country. This is Tucker Carlson. Again, I'm a Christian.
We hate Russia because it's white, Gerald.
It's white Christian, and that's what we learned. That's our lesson from World War II, is what he said. Apparently, that's why we hated Germany, too, because it was white and Christian. Apparently, that's why we bombed, what was it, Hiroshima or Nagasaki, where we bombed the church, and it was the Christian capital of that region.
Was France not also Catholic during World War II?
I mean, I think so, maybe. I think there was a lot of Catholic priests in Germany as well that, we must hate all of them, I guess.
It's so reductive.
It's ridiculous. And listen, I don't want to just be like, oh, he's ridiculous. We gave you the facts to rebut what he's saying. And Tucker is just parroting CCP talking points and Alexander Duggan talking points as well, because he's parroting CCP talking points. Weird. In his, book, Foundation of Politics in 1997, he openly talks about subverting America with internal divisions. That's Duggan.
That is the guy that came up with the multipolar theory that they keep parroting and parroting and parroting. He's the guy who, and what stands in the way of that is American dominance. And in his book, he has prescribed how to get rid of America. He says our culture is the most destructive thing, not our military. He doesn't like our culture, and he's prescribed how to knock us down. And now Tucker is taking those talking points and mainstreaming them within the American right.
And doing it very effectively, making it seem like he knows what he's talking about. He has sources. He's talked to people. We know this. It's fact. Nobody's even arguing this. And look, your cities could be nicer too. Look, maybe you'd have better health care. And look, maybe you'd have less social unrest. And maybe it would be more white and more Christian. Do you see the game that Tucker's playing? I really hope you do.
Poland is all of those things right now, never cited once by Tucker.
Not once.
There's a reason for it.
And I don't think we ever will. Look, Tucker, you can put all this to rest by explaining why you tend to always side on these regimes' side. Why do you always come down on that side? Why are you always painting the United States as the bad guy? Why are you always pushing and prodding and digging for the truth when it comes to your favorite talking points in interviews, but giving a complete runway to people who parrot everything that you have been talking about? And don't challenge them at all. Don't push back on anything. That's the pattern that I am seeing right now. Tucker knows how to do an interview. I've seen it. He does it very, very well. He pushes very, very well. And he could do that to some of the people pushing these talking points, but he doesn't. I think you're seeing exactly what he wants you to see. And at this point, I'm not saying Tucker Carlson is just a guy who's got the wrong idea. He's a propagandist, period. We'll see you next time.
Facts. You know what I'm saying? I know we love to give Gerald a lot of shit. You know, like that's the meme. We take the piss out of Gerald and all this kind of shit. But Gerald's spitting absolute fire here. That should be the only question that we're asking Tucker. Why are you anti-America, but you're also claiming to be America first? Like there's no clear way that one can drill down to the heart of the issue. And again, shout out to Crowder, shout out to Gerald and to is it Wayne? I fucked up his name. I do apologize, right? But like to say that he's a propagandist is one thing. But like bear in mind, who is Tucker Carlson? Who was his father? Where did he get all these stories? You know what I mean? And like I keep reminding y'all, Trump renamed the Department of Defense back to the Department of War. The last time that department was changed, names was changed, was in 1974. The National Security Act of 1974, which just so happens to found the CIA right after Operation Paperclip. Where did all those Germans go? Why was it called Paperclip? And why is it such a big deal that Trump switched the name back to Department of War? What is he signaling? What is he signaling, folks? But more of our boy Steven Crowder. Like I said, it's we need to do more Crowder. I've missed Crowder. You know what I'm saying? We need to do a bit more Crowder on this show. You know what I'm saying? So shout outs to William.
Had over the last 2 days very good, productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East.
Biden said it, Obama said it, George W. Bush said it, Clinton said it, George Bush Sr. said it, Ronald Reagan said it. You go, every single one said, of course, they cannot get a nuke. Now name me a single president who did anything about it. That's the difference. There's so much misinformation regarding Iran, regarding President Trump, regarding the regime, regarding the people. I've asked you, like, where do you line up? And the truth is, we used to be able to ask those questions. Now we have to ask, okay, where do you line up and what's your basis for that? Because people aren't even agreeing on central tenets, on basic facts. And I think that it's a legitimate conversation to have. Okay, to what degree should the United States intervene? How will this affect midterms, the optics? What does the timeline look like? Absolutely. But you have some people out there who believe that Iran has never attacked Americans. Yes, they have. Who believe that Iran was nowhere near becoming a nuclear power. Of course they were. Who believe that Iran posed as no threat. Who believe that the people of Iran actually like their regime. These are just not accurate. These aren't half-truths. These are factual inaccuracies. And the reason I bring that up is because I wonder if people knew the truth. If people knew that there was a nation out there that oppressed and killed and imprisoned its own people, who have said that they will kill Americans at any given opportunity. They are a death cult who want to bring about the apocalypse, have said death to America, death to America. If you may believe them, and then that might change your jumping off point. So a lot happened over the weekend. Just this morning, President Trump dropped this statement on Truth, and then there's been an update since then. He wrote, I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good, productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week. They better continue. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants, energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for this attention to this matter, right? His signature. This comes after, throughout the weekend, he set a 48-hour deadline where he threatened to blow up Iran's power plants. Also, the reason that's important is because that would affect the civilian population. Most of them seemingly still welcome it if you read from them on social. Obviously not a lot of polling data to come in, but he made that threat earlier, and this is what we saw today. So this is the earlier threat. He said, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first.
Why did it start with the biggest one?
So the new statement happened. Markets are kind of rebounding. According to CNBC's Joe Kernan, the discussion, they seem to center around the idea of regime change, which is really a technicality because there is a change of regime since most of them are dead.
The futures are spiking on that Truth Social post from the president that the U.S. and Iran have had productive discussions. I just spoke to the president. President Trump said the discussions have been very good over the last 48 hours, very intense discussions. I said, well, with whom? I thought, there aren't a lot of leaders left alive. He said they have representatives, obviously. The president went on to say or insist that this is regime change because it's totally different people that were involved in the last.
It involves the ones that are still alive. Yeah.
I would imagine some of the people are the same. This is the president's take on that, insisting that it's regime change. He went on to say the great meetings, great conversations, and hopes that within the next 5 days something very substantive can be arrived at for the end of hostilities.
And this is the problem in the era of misinformation. And by the way, you are a useful tool if you're delivering misinformation, just so you know. Anyone out there who thinks that the communist Chinese government, the communist Cuban government, or the Islamo-Commie fascists in the Iranian regime, the Islamic Republic, are not feeding disinformation to willing participants, you live in a fool's paradise, just to be clear. I'll get to the updates, but here's one thing that I do want to keep in context. Presidents don't exist in a vacuum. And a big reason, too, that I think this is unfair for people to attack President Trump on wrongful premises is that in comparing him to other administrations, I want you to do something for me, okay? Name me a single president. Name me a single president in modern American history who didn't say, hey, of course, we cannot allow Iran to get a nuke. Name me a single president. Biden said it, Obama said it, George W. Bush said it, Clinton said it, George Bush Sr. said it, Ronald Reagan said it. You go, every single one said, of course, they cannot get a nuke. Now, name me a single international governing body who didn't also recognize Iran as a danger because they're a rogue terror state. Name me one. Now name me a single president who did anything about it. That's the difference.
I'll rest my case.
That's the difference. And people saying, well, President Trump promised he wouldn't. He's always said that they wouldn't be allowed to have a nuke. I think it's also pretty important to note that billions of dollars, not only unfrozen, but in cash given to Iran under the Barack Obama administration. You think it maybe takes some work to undo that? Do you think that maybe accelerated the danger?
I think the left would claim that as doing something about it, too.
If Iran acted out, if Iran did what they have been doing now, basically bombing their own neighbors, if they got a nuke or they had the serious capabilities to harm every major city in Europe, which seems to be the case, and they did it, of course, President Trump would be blamed. Here's what the media would do. They would blame President Trump, and they would try and paint it as Barack Obama and Joe Biden tried to stop it, did enough. He's damned if he does, he's damned if he doesn't. You know, most multivitamins are crap. Proprietary blends of stuff.
Usually I'd skip over the ads, but because it's Crowder and he does put like a good amount of effort into his ads, I will let Crowder's ads play.
You don't need, it's not even what's on the label. That's why we created Foundation Daily. Clinically effective ingredients at their clinically effective doses. Vitamins A through zinc, plus curcumin, turmeric, and garlic to help you with some aches and pains. Everything you need, nothing you don't. Plus, you can get a certificate of analysis on every batch sold, so what's on the label is exactly what you're getting. Go to foundationdaily.com to start your subscription today. Foundation. It's a knockout.
Back to the show.
Shortly after that truth, the foreign minister denied any talks took place from Iran, and then President Trump immediately responded to that. So here's up to the minute.
Foreign ministry says you're not telling the truth when it comes to productive conversations to end the war.
Well, they're going to have to get themselves better public relations people. We have had very, very strong talks. We'll see where they lead. We have major points of agreement. I would say almost all points of agreement. Perhaps that hasn't been conveyed. The communication, as you know, has been blown to pieces. They're unable to talk to each other. But we've had very strong talks. Mr. Witkoff and Mr. Kushner had them.
Who is Steve Witkoff speaking with, Mr. President?
A top person. Don't forget, we've wiped out the leadership phase 1, phase 2, and largely phase 3. But we're dealing with the man who I believe is the most respected and the leader. It's a little tough. We've wiped out everybody.
Is that the Supreme Leader?
No, not the Supreme Leader. We don't. Well, nobody heard of the second Supreme Leader, the son.
Are these direct?
Nobody. We have not heard from the son. Every once in a while, you'll see a statement made, but we haven't. We don't know if he's living.
And I know that none of this matters to some of you who've made up your minds. And by the way, like I've said in the past, I haven't. I said let's check back in 3 months. I understand there's information that will be incomplete for me as it relates to matters of national security and war. That's the nature of it, and I accept that. You have some people, though, who somehow still believe that Iran was not in any way a nuclear threat. I know some of you watching right now go like, well, no one actually disputes that. No, actually a lot do. Did you know that? Did you know that a lot of people online think that that's a psyop, that it's propaganda, that Iran was nowhere near nuclear capabilities? They think it's been a lie because it's been warned about for decades. I don't know if you remember, Iran's foreign minister said they had enough material for about 10 bombs.
I never said that we are going to make bombs. I said that we have 440 kilos of 60% enriched material, and that was not a secret. That is what is mentioned in the reports of the IAEA. So I said that, look, this is mentioned in the report. This, if enriched more, can be good enough for 10 bombs, as your own experts claims.
So the IAEA said they were 60% enrichment. Our administration said they were close. Iran themselves said, yeah, we could, we may not, we could, but you have people out there, in order to say that Donald Trump is a warmonger, say, no, none of that is true. It's all a psyop from Israel. I don't want a single American to die for Israel. I don't want a single American to die because Iran exists, to be clear. That's why I don't want Americans to die for any other country, including Iran. Many Americans have, to be clear.
Over decades.
Yes. Yeah. You do have to acknowledge, though, that they said they could. International governing bodies said they could. And then when you take into account, this isn't completely confirmed. Reportedly, they fired missiles at Diego Garcia, which is about 2,000 miles away. Now, allegedly, they were fired. They were intercepted. We don't know. But we do know this. They've been launching missiles at their nearby supposed friends or somewhat neutral allies out of desperation. And some of those have required missiles that tell us they actually, Iran, if what he said is true, and they have enough for 10 bombs, every major city in Europe is within Iran's missile range.
Yeah.
We're seeing now what Marco Rubio said to be true. Out of desperation, because they're going to be destroyed anyway, now they're firing them off. So the nation that has said, we will kill every Westerner that we can. They want America first. They want to kill America first. And of course, Israel. I get it.
I'm just glad they're America first.
Right.
Yeah.
But any major city in Europe will do. Again, I go back to, name me a single president who did not say we have to prevent Iran from getting a nuke. You won't find one. Same thing for the international governing bodies. Name me a single president who actually did anything other than talks and giving them cash. I give him credit for that.
Yeah. And allowing
like, this is what I was trying to get at with Haku. Or anybody who shares that whole kind of mentality of like war is always a bad thing and we should always avoid war at all costs and all this kind of shit. Right? You start with saying, should Iran have nukes? One sec. Let me go back to the image because that's actually a really good image that they had to put it in perspective. I do apologize, chat. Like, in terms of like, they hit this island here. Oh, shit. One sec. Okay. So you see the way that there's like there's the image on the right. Yeah. And it has Iran in the middle and it has like a circle kind of like around the globe. You look at the bottom right with the little name, right? That's on the line. Like that's a little island that Iran hit with one of their missiles, meaning that's their range. And when you look at all the surrounding countries that's in there, you basically have like all of Europe except for like basically Spain and Portugal and Ireland. Like even England, even London can get hit. London can get hit. Berlin can get hit. Fucking Paris. I was about to say what's the capital of Paris? Rome can get hit. Poland, Moscow, Scandinavia. You know what I mean? All of these areas, or Iran can hit, and that's with no like extra territory taken. For example, like trying to lead into like Turkey and all this kind of, like if they're able to set up this shit with Turkey, which are friendly to the Islamic cries, is like, let's say is one way to put it. Like, and that's all. That's only what we've seen. So like this whole thing of like Spain and Portugal and Ireland being on the fringe, you know what I mean? Could possibly, you know, be within range depending on where they're setting it off from and all this kind of shit. Because again, remember, like Iran has plenty of proxies in Iraq, in Lebanon, in Syria, and even Turkey. You know what I mean? There's plenty of people who are sympathetic to that regime. So in terms of like actually like getting like any part of Europe, that's like no longer in question now. This is a fact. This is a fact, right? So then you have to run them down the dialogue. Because like they'll say on the one hand that they're against Iran having nukes, but then on the other hand they'll be saying like what America's doing is wrong, right? You have to like guide them down the path, because if you just tell them it, that like they just won't believe you. They'll just deny it. It'd be like the same thing with Kai in my debate with Kai, where I say all the stuff and then he hears oh, he wants to ban atheists and just have Christians in office. When I like kept saying, like, even Jeremy, you know what I mean? And like I love Jeremy. But like even Jeremy was kind of like he got kind of bogged down on that aspect where I was saying like, you can be purely just a philosopher, not be a Christian at all, and by signing this affidavit, you're not telling a lie, and it's not prohibiting you from office. You know what I mean? All you're simply accepting with it was that it's an objective morals. You know what I mean? So you have to like guide him down the path, and eventually, like towards the end of the debate, Kyle was like, "Yeah, I don't disagree with you. Reality is objective, rational, and ordered." You know what I mean? So fundamentally, from the like, he doesn't disagree with what I was saying in terms of like passing that legislation, or he has no arguments to disagree with. But he just doesn't want to be forced into a religion, and I understand that. I get that. You know what I mean? I don't want to be forced into Islam. I can empathize. Trust me, especially like from hearing what's been going on all across Europe. But when you look at the current state of affairs, this egalitarianism, this feminism, this presupposition that democracy is like foundational and all this bollocks, it all stems from atheism and moral relativism. If you deny that there's a higher power, you no longer have appreciation for intellect. You cannot differentiate between intellect and ignorance. It's all just your opinion, bro. It's all just my preferences, bro. You know what I mean? So, like, it's the same thing that you have to do with these people who will, like, come in and say, oh my God, America's so evil, all this kind of shit. And you start with the question of, should Iran have nukes? And as you can see from the image displayed, anybody in Europe is like, fuck no. Right? Okay, if Iran shouldn't have nukes, what's the course of action? Oh, you fly in the B-2 bombers and you blow up the shit. Okay, they've dug holes into those fucking mountains. Like, they're literally mountains. And they're so deep underground that you cannot blow them up. You can fuck up the entrances or think you might have all the entrances and exits covered of how you get into the mountain, all this kind of shit. But it's still there. They still have it. You know what I mean? And it's just a matter of time before they dig out the rubble and then they're back in business. You know what I mean? So what do you do then? You've flown in the B-2 bombers and the B-2 bombers don't work. What do you do then? Well, basically the only thing you can do, which is what America's been doing. Like, trying to avoid at all costs putting actual troops on the ground, American troops on ground. In the meantime, you're literally showing them exactly who the fucking motherfucking boss is. You're doing this type shit. You know what I mean? You basically shell them out of existence. Like, every single military base, every single fucking, like, nuclear plant, everything that the military could possibly use to stop or quell a rebellion from the Persian people. And again, like, it's not only the Persians, it's also the Kurds, and also, like, many Iranians are not only finished with this regime, but they're also finished with Islam, etc., etc. You know what I mean? That's what America, like, the key play that America's trying to do. Israel as well. Can we effectively neutralize this regime and then let the people rise up? You know what I mean? And this is why having a particular, what would be the name? Okay, that's very interesting. Very, very interesting. One would say too interesting. But anyways, back to the stream. Fuck, that's throwing me for a loop now. Anyways, fuck, where was I? One second. I'm actually gonna have to go back to my stream because I've lost my train of thought. That is very peculiar. Okay, yeah. So like this whole thing of like shelling like every single like support infrastructure that this regime has, you have to wipe out. This is why the Ayatollah got wiped out. This is why what was it? Like all these like military bases. That's why we were talking about the whole like school getting hit. Because like it was like one of these bases that they were hitting. You know what I mean? Now again, like we have the likes of Haku, who was coming in saying, "Oh, but think of the kids and Trump bombed." Like this whole man. Like I guarantee you, if Haku was being honest, he would actually or if probably another way to say it, if I was to actually get him like angry enough and like he would actually say, he's like, yeah, of course they fucking like bomb kids. Like America's evil. That's what he wants to say, but he knows he can't say that because it doesn't stand to reason. First of all. And second of all, he has no evidence. But from knowing like that general mentality that these people tend to have, they have a disdain for their own fucking country, for their own countrymen. You know what I mean? Their own history. And it's sad to see. It genuinely is sad to see. And if like, cause like growing up, I was like completely fucking like anti monarchy, anti-British, all this kind of shit. And now it's literally, I find myself in some fucking weird parallel universe where like as an Irishman, I'm defending fucking England more than English people. I'm defending America more than American people. What the fuck is going on? Like you cannot tell me that's just normal like differences of opinions. You know what I mean? Something went seriously wrong in the past couple of decades. Something was infiltrated, and there was a fucking complete like what would be the best way to describe it? Like a complete campaign to effectively try to wipe out the the Western like culture, the Western like way of life. And this is why you have like Tucker Carlson, like one of the biggest quote unquote influencers and all this kind of shit in West not the West, in America and like Candace and all this, like all these people and all this kind of shit, all of a sudden they're turning on Trump. They're turning on their own country. They're talking about like CCP and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? So again, war sucks. But as Thor teaches us, a wise king, you know, not to cause war, but to be prepared for it. And in terms of like the only avenue here is like, as you see from the map, you have to go in. And like I said, to put it in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, like holy shit, like when you think about when you think about the cost, right, in terms of like the life and all this kind of shit, it's a very difficult conversation to have, like when you're in the war room and like and they say, okay, this operation is going to cost us 5,000 lives. You know what I mean? That's a difficult thing to sign off on. But what you need to remember is, okay, if this operation is the cost, fuck it. Let's not even talk about America. If this operation was to cost 5,000 Israeli soldiers, 5,000 Israeli lives, would you be willing to do it? And you say, oh, like that's 5,000 lives and human life is priceless. Like, how could you even say such a thing, Teriak? Because if you don't do this, Israel's going to be number one that they'll use this nuke on, which means it's 5,000 Israelis versus 11 million Israelis. That's a no-brainer. Do you know what I mean? And like these are the uncomfortable propositions, the uncomfortable choices that these leaders have to make. Do you know what I mean? That's why people who envy the crown don't understand what responsibility is, what accountability is. You know what I mean? Power always comes with a price. When you look at this situation, like anybody who's saying that like we shouldn't put troops on the ground in Iran, all this kind of shit, they do not understand modern warfare and the types of weapons and the systems and all this kind of shit at play.
We're seeing now what Marco Rubio said to be true. Out of desperation, because they're going to be destroyed anyway, now they're firing them off. So the nation that has said, we will kill every Westerner that we can. They want America first. They want to kill America first. And of course, Israel. I get it.
I'm just glad they're America first.
Right.
Yeah.
But any major city in Europe will do. Again, I go back to, name me a single president who did not say we have to prevent Iran from getting a nuke. You won't find one. Same thing for the international governing bodies. Name me a single president who actually did anything other than talks and giving them cash. I give him credit for that.
Yeah. And allowing them to develop their ballistic missile program. And this is the problem with that. It's not just that the European theater now comes into play. It's that every talking head on X and everywhere else that's been so anti because this is Israel's war, it doesn't benefit the United States at all, has said that their range is only half of what it would take for them to actually hit Diego Garcia.
Right.
That changes things because maybe, God forbid, the United States president knows more about what's going on than you do.
Right.
I would hope so.
The game changer. Now, it's yet to be confirmed, so I don't want to speak too strongly on it, but that would be like, holy crap, maybe the thing that we always knew was possible is that the DNI and the President of the United States both know more about what's going on than you do. Maybe.
Yeah. It seems like this conversation should be centering around the level of legitimacy as to the threat of Iran, or how seriously they should be taken, not whether they want to cause irreparable damage to anyone they can get their hands on in the Western world. It's bizarre to me that that's where the conversation centers. And this is why I said, hey, hopefully you guys have set your clock. March 4th, 19 days ago, I said, give this military action, give it 3 months, and then come back to me, and I'll have a more developed opinion. Give it 3 months. I think we have a clip. Or was that just the... Yeah. 23 days ago, it started. 19 days ago, I said, give it about 3 months. Because that will determine the level of support that this receives. If it's swift, if it's fast, if it's effective, it would help in the midterms. If it's long, if it's drawn out, if it's unclear, if it's opaque, it'll hurt. But people trying to trumpet as loudly as they can right now, this is going to hurt them. And I regret my vote. You're being more preemptive than the left.
Yeah. And by the way, they're saying that Donald Trump said he was the peace president, and that's why. He didn't lie to you guys. He is the peace president. Mm-hmm. Look back at his first term. What was he the peace president through? Strength. Mm-hmm. Peace through strength. He understands the threat is out there and he's going to have to deal with it. Nobody wants us to have to deal with these threats, but they exist. So he's dealing with it for peace.
Yeah. Unless you believe, let me know. Do you think a nuclear Iran or Iran with biochemical weapons and intermediate range missiles, do you think that's a more peaceful world?
That's the only question that matters is, do you think that they were a threat? Do you think that they were on their way to get nukes, which seems pretty obvious, and if they had them, would they use them? If the answer is you think yes,
well, people
stopping that is peace. I mean, it's just a matter of how you do it. If you do it really effectively, then it's really easy to argue for peace. If you don't do it effectively, you're there for 5-6 months or longer. It's hard to argue effectiveness.
Well, a lot of people out there will say, well, nukes are a deterrent. Well, that's true if they share any of your Western sensibilities whatsoever. You need to understand this particular version of Islam, this Islamic death cult, they don't value the lives of their own people in the same way.
Especially since they're not all Muslim.
Right.
In Iran.
You know what I mean? Like they happily wiped out 30,000. Some figures even say 100,000. You know what I mean? Protesters on the streets. Just open fired. and then we have to listen to Trump is a tyrant because Tom Petty put himself in the fucking firing line. Like, what kind of upside down fucking world are we living in? You know what I mean? Mango says, if those 5k dead Israelis believed they would be exterminated by jihadis, then you have 5k dead Netanyahu. No, what I'm saying is that if you were to wipe out this regime and like were able to install a Western friendly regime that doesn't want to wipe out Israel, they genuinely like they see the shared like culture and history, like for example, like they enact a leader that's like, you know, Cyrus the Great, you know what I mean, incarnate, for example. Like that, let's say that's who the leader of Iran becomes from this, but it's going to cost you 5,000 of your soldiers. Benjamin, like Netanyahu, would be an idiot not to do that, because what's on the table is 5,000 Israeli soldiers or 11 million Israelis. Which would you pick? You know what I mean? What I mean is they fought ruthlessly to preserve their country and state for survival reasons. Like that's what Netanyahu always says. Like the Israeli secret weapon is not some sort of space laser. The Israeli secret weapon is like we've nowhere else to go. This is where we stand. This is where we fight. Because if Iran gets the nuke, take a guess. Take a guess who their first target's going to be. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
But the regime doesn't care. They will gladly sacrifice all of their people and take you with them. It's not the same as other nations who want to preserve their people. Iran's dogma is, we're going to bring about the apocalypse. We want to speed it up. It's a very, very different prospect. And yet people out there telling you, no, that's not true. Just read their own words. Look into the 12th Imam. Well, we've done a segment on it. You can go back to a previous episode. Does that shed some new light on it?
Well, we set them back a bit, didn't we?
We did. And we set them back quite a bit.
We brought it up before, but just to reiterate, the earlier we do this, the less possible casualties are involved in it. The longer we wait, the more dangerous it becomes for all involved.
And some people say, well, we've been saying that since the 70s. Sure. At a certain point, right, you ever have this? It's go time. If you have someone who never straightens up and flies right, you'd rather fight them, you'd rather deal with them before they are at their strongest, before they are in their most powerful state.
Especially when they have something to, leverage.
Yes.
Like oil, straight out of Hormuz.
All of it. Yep. That's exactly right. And also, I understand, we're going to get to Cuba here in a second. These regimes, this is one thing that's very consistent. You look at Venezuela, the people are happy. You look at Iran, the people want to see the regime out. Same thing with Cuba, they want their regime out.
Yep.
Only communists and some people on the right saying, no, that's a psyop. That's not true. Doesn't mean it's our job to. But at a certain point, you do have to say, hey, maybe a bunch of people have mutually aligned interests that these regimes are bad. These people are starving. You look at the amount of weight that the average Venezuelan lost, by the way, that's choking off Cuba at the same time. And you are fortunate that you could go to the store and just pick up a steak whenever you want. Though you shouldn't do that. You're still here.
I mean, like, there's a lot of stuff that you can point to. You know what I mean? Like when they told us, oh, the Israelis are starving the Gazans, and then there's a picture of like literally an obese woman standing next to like a kid that like literally has some sort of like birth defect that like it comes out bony and all this kind of shit. Even the AI was able to confirm that. And the bitch is obese. And you're like, hang on a second, I thought you motherfuckers were being starved. I never seen any fucking obese Jews in the camps. You know what I mean? Like, they look like walking skeletons to me. You know? So, like, there's certain shit where it's like, Oh man, like it's like trying to explain 2 + 2 = 4 to some people, you know what I mean? But all I can really say is the truth is not always written. You know what I mean? And we got our boy EOD. Welcome into the house, sir. Pull up a chair, get comfy. You know what I'm saying? Maybe grab a cup of coffee, depending on what time it is for you. You know what I'm saying? Get comfy. Talk about the whole Iran war shenanigans. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We're on to the next one. We're back onto the racisms. We're going to the racist. Going to the dog's bite. Hey, mama.
Y'all were saying we can go in there sagging bubble coat.
Stop, will you? Oh my god. I need to prepare myself for this one, gentlemen. Like, what? Who the fuck wears glasses like that? Oh my god. Let's just get into it.
Jeans, and now, like I said, I'm confused because I was turned away from my outfit because they told me it did not.
Cause your glasses are fucking goofy, you goofy bitch.
Right there, you're fine for Ruth's Chris right now.
I need to know, was I being discriminated against, and was this racism?
Black people.
No, you're not being. Well, you are being discriminated against. Not because you're black, because you're fucking ugly.
Many black people are choosing to include these behaviors as a part of their identity. When they say this discriminates against black people, what you're saying is that you can't be bothered to behave reasonably. This segment is going to be rough.
But like, like EOD like brings up a striking point here. That it wouldn't be a day in politics if there wasn't some racisms. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you think that African governments are having any dialogue in terms of racism? Do you think that the Chinese parliament are having any dialogue in terms of racisms? Do you think in Russia, do you think there's any dialogue in terms of the racisms? No. But for some fucking reason, our politics, like we cannot have a day without it. Do you know what I mean? Just think about that for a second, please, boys. You know what I mean? Why is that the case?
Hold on. So, have you noticed how crappy everything is lately as far as quality control and customer service? Think movies, travel, food service, like hotels, people's general behavior. You're not alone. Customer satisfaction has been going down for years. It's currently at a 10-year low, and you can only blame COVID for so long. Some companies now are stepping up, taking it into their own hands, saying, hey, you know what?
Because they're incompetent. Like anybody who takes AOC seriously or who thinks that like she's a serious person who's, you know, a politician, all this kind of bollocks, is retarded. They're literally retarded. They're not serious people. Like if you ever try to take a sample of data and then to try and boil it down to like racisms, and that's the pressing issue. When like every single Democrat city is a shithole. Nah, you can maybe if it was like 200 years ago or some shit like that, like you might have been able to fool me then. But look at the dialogue that the ancient Greeks were having 2,000 years ago. Can you show me any African tribe that are having any similar conversations in modern day, mind you, in modern day? And you can't do this whole, well, you had the head start because I'm putting the white folk back to 2,000 years. Or the European heritage, whatever the fuck they're calling us nowadays. Mango says, I wouldn't work hard if I'm working 40 hours per week and still living in poverty. Like, what is poverty to you, Mangos? Do you know what I mean? Like poverty is, homelessness. But even in terms of homelessness, like there's some like certain cities or whatever where it's like you can be homeless, but you still technically have access to hot running water. You can do like makeshift jobs around the city, like the whole like return cans or like litter thing or whatever the aluminium thing that they put in European cities. With the bottles, you collect the bottles and the cans, and you get like the payment from the thing. So it basically can get homeless people. Basically gives them a pseudo job, like a commission based job. Like the more like bottles and cans they find, they get like 25 cents per can or something like that. Basically, you know what I mean? Like when you're talking about like poverty, you're talking about like no infrastructure in the village. Like you want to get some fresh water, motherfucker, you're hiking up a hill to go to the well. That's poverty. But notice, Mangos, and again, like this mentality of like, I do not have enough. This goes back to the whole racism thing, because like the lefties don't have anything else. The only thing they can do is convince you that you're entitled to more. What you have isn't enough. That's how they do the whole racism things. That black people don't have enough. Not the logical conclusion where it's like they're getting what they're worth, which is what capitalism preaches. Go out and earn what you're worth. And I understand, like before, in terms of the being able to like afford your own house by a certain age and all this kind of shit. I understand that. And there is an argument to be made in terms of the current schemes that they set up and all this kind of shit, that it's fucked. The system needs a revamp and all this kind of shit. Because how are you going to be able to afford your home? Because the way it's going, you could work fucking 80 hours a week, the way things are going, and you still won't be able to own your own house. You know what I mean? But another aspect to it as well is people aren't good at money. That's the other side to it as well, which often makes these conversations very fucking difficult to have, because like people rarely take multiple perspectives on a story. Which ironically takes us back to the Bible, going beyond good and evil, believe it or not.
You need to have some reasonable restrictions and codes of conduct as far as expected behavior, like Ruth's Chris. And then people say it's racist. So I'm going to tell you what it is that they expect of their customers to try and improve this, because someone needs to make a change, and then I'm going to explain to you why people say it's racist, and you need to really try not to be racist.
Should I do it? I'm gonna do it!
Some of them armed with guns.
I'm gonna be stealing like it ain't no tomorrow.
Sexual contact with an unresponsive man.
There will never be another one like him.
There never will be. Let's try. So Ruth's Chris. I hate the name. Good restaurant, but I hate the name. It's a terrible name.
Yeah.
So they have a new dress code. You have to go, okay, what would necessitate a new dress and I guess you could say behavioral code of conduct? Well, they then look at the list. You go, so they switched it to business casual to elegant is the new dress code.
There you go.
Elegant.
And that means, just in case you think it's an insurmountable
No, it's not.
type of hurdle, nothing sleeveless, no offensive shirts, like no federal booby inspector.
Damn it.
Hats, ball caps, anything that's overly revealing as far as clothing. And they specifically outline clothing emitting marijuana odor.
Yeah, that doesn't go well with the wine odor.
No.
So, yeah, it screws everything up.
So let me ask you first, these seem reasonable. It's an expensive steakhouse. Now, a lot of people go, oh, why should they do? Well, look, if you don't like that, the Waffle House will take your order. But I also know that a lot of people who are middle class, who are struggling, this is a nice night out and they want to go to a steakhouse. and they don't want to be bothered by the riffraff. They have certain expectations, and those expectations have been eroded. I think it's totally reasonable. It's a private business, and I don't think that these are incredibly difficult to meet these standards. Of course, many people think it's racism.
If them hood niggas want to come in there with their bubble coats and they hoods on, who the fuck cares, bro? It's niggas who want to dress up when they go out or whatever the case may be. But a hood nigga is a hood nigga. If he don't want to change his motherfucking clothes to go to this restaurant and that he's spending his money at, mind your motherfucking business.
So let me.
Oh my God, man! Like, I wish I had like the clips of just like Italian restaurants and all this kind of shit, like where like the Italians are the best for doing this. Like even if you were to say, oh, like can I get, you know, like this menu on the item, but can I change a few things, or could you, like, they'll just say no. Like you come to our restaurant, you're coming for our food, we will present you with the food, and like this is our experience that we're putting here. And if you don't like that, we don't want your money. Get the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing that like I'm entitled to go to do my own thing, like because bear in mind, like when you go into a restaurant, like the like you're basically going into like their house, someone else's house, and then you're gonna arrive up and you're gonna act like you own the place. Nah, I don't need your money. You know what I mean? And like this whole thing, like, should I be allowed to walk into a bank with a fucking balaclava on? You know what I mean? Like common sense shit. That like do these people even think? Do you know what I mean? This ain't like a skin color thing. Like I've literally heard white people justify this shit as well. And I'm like, retards everywhere. That's why they're starting the retard supremacy movement. You know what I'm saying? Holy shit, we need to get rid of democracy. We need to go back to monarchy, boys. Restore nobility. Make America noble again. Dude, it's bad here in America where people change the menu. I can give exceptions. Oh, exceptions for food allergies? Yeah. Like if it's a food allergy, like I can get that. But like the Italians will be like, yeah, just order something else. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if you're allergic to seafood, oh, like, and the pasta comes with prawns, it'd be like, oh, you can get the chicken carbonara. You know what I mean? But like this whole thing of like, I'm going to go in and I'm basically going to order whatever the fuck I want, and if you don't have it, I'm going to cause a scene. Bro, ridiculous. And the libs are making videos crying about 40-hour work weeks. Bro, this is what I'm saying. You know, 107 salutes to you, Big Red. Like that's actually like someone who's saying fuck it. Like I'm going to, like, no matter what the situation, I'll overcome it. That's that mentality. In order to work 100 hours a week, you have to have that mentality. What you call a male mentality, the mentality of a man. How 40 hours is too much and too hard, bro. It is. That's like the basic. That's like the minimum. You know what I'm saying? Got EOD as well, 60. Worked 60 last week, and I'm happy to do it. I get overtime. Such case. There's actually another video that comes to mind of like it was basically like this dude. He was like kind of looked like if Kieran Markin, if he was a bodybuilder, he kind of looks like this, and he's basically like he goes around the gym and he starts asking these other dudes in the gym how many hours do they work a week. And it was like the minimum I think was like 45. The average was about 50. And they were all saying, "Oh yeah, like I do a gym session like, you know, couple of days in the week." So he's going to the gym. Let's say he does 2 days a week, 1 hour each week, and then between time there and for all that's about another 4 or 5 hours added onto the work week, and that's just your gym. That's just your exercise. You know what I mean? What do these people think? What do these people do with themselves? Do they even think? You know? See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
me know what's going on here because now I feel like I was discriminated against. Y'all were saying we can go in here sagging bubble coats, jeans, up our, and now, like I said, I'm confused because I was turned away from my outfit because they told me it did not.
Right there, you're fine for Ruth's Chris right now.
I need to know, was I being discriminated against and was this racism? Let me know something because y'all said there was no dress code.
Oh, well, that's a problem.
Bro, oh my God. Oh my God. Some women need to wear the burqa and the bin liner shit that they do. Like, cause like that's just, as Kanye West said, that's sexual assault. I feel assaulted sexually by even having to look at that shit.
That's a little bit different, isn't it?
Kind of like a hooker.
Yeah.
That's a little different. Well, she does.
Clip it.
I'm sorry, ma'am. No one wants to be seated next to the photo negative of Miss Piggy.
So, look, I'm going to keep revisiting this. Either these are reasonable restrictions for a private business to implement to improve the customer experience for everybody. Sleeveless, no. Hats, no. If it's overly revealing, no. If you reek of weed or body odor, no. Either of these are all reasonable, or what we're seeing is many black people are choosing to include these behaviors as a part of their identity. When they say this discriminates against black people, what you're saying is that you can't be bothered to behave reasonably. You're actually justifying the reason that many people don't want to be seated at the table next to you. Do you understand? And you know what? When people say, hey, this discriminates against black people, I know that most of you who don't actually walk around as a racist, you go, well, why? Well, hey, maybe here's why.
I will pull up to Ruth Chris in some Nike sweats, slides, and a beater. The you talking about? Wrong. Came here to eat. I ain't come up in this to wear a tuxedo to eat a.
It's not about you.
How?
Oh, I guess I understand why. If you choose to identify with that behavior, you think that it discriminates against you. But it's not because you're black. It's because you're awful. It has nothing to do with race. We've actually been considering a similar policy here in this studio.
Way ahead of you, Stephen.
What the?
Josh, absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. And the cut to it, perfect timing. This is why we love Crowder. This is why we love Crowder. We got Mango saying 40 hours isn't hard at all. What is hard, being paid minimum wage that can't afford rent, utilities, and food. I'm not saying it's entitlement for Mercedes-Benz, but it shouldn't be a punishment. But like the counter man goes like, you're seeing like EOD's doing 60, Big Red done 107 last week. You know what I mean? Like if it comes down to like what you desire. You know what I mean? If you want more money, then do an extra 20 hours. What about the overtime? Maybe say, fuck this job. I think I'm better than minimum wage. You know what I mean? There's nothing stopping you from doing that. You know? Maybe like, oh fuck, like, what if I try to go for the managerial job in the place that I work or something like that? Try to get a promotion. You know what I mean? Like, even in that situation, there's other things you can do. And again, I'm not trying to like beat you down or nothing like that, but it's like, at what point do you kind of like say, well, maybe I'm just kind of like leaving this on the back burner and not actually putting enough focus into this aspect of my life? Because when you talk about like your job and what you do and all this kind of shit, it's like you should be giving that serious thought. Like before I fucking went after this and like pursued the stream and all this kind of stuff, I thought about it a lot. It's like, am I sure I want to fucking do this? What happens if I'm like, 4 years in and I'm only making $2,000 a year? You know what I mean? Well, I'm gonna have to go out and get a fucking job then, haven't I? You know what I mean? And is that going to affect me? The fact I'm taking a break from like what I was working at to do this and all this kind of shit. Do you know what I mean? And at some point, there is going to be a risk that you have to take, but those who take the risk bask in the reward. What we have is a problem with the current tax system. It's not this whole thing that we says no, it's not because of racism. It's just mega conglomerates manipulated the strap on your work boot crowd that you work harder, you succeed. It's that wages don't keep up with the inflation is the issue. Yeah, but what's causing the inflation? The debt. Which means they increase the taxes and they print more money. So you're getting taxed more and your money is getting more, diluted. There's more inflation and there's more taxes. Somebody's lying. Like, that's what I'm trying to point out, Mangos. Like, when you do this whole thing of like, oh, we want social safety nets and we want free healthcare for everybody and we want X, Y, Z and all this kind of shit. That's why you're in a situation where it's like, I'm just about keeping up with inflation right now. I'm just about paying my bills right now. Because, like, if you think about, here's the thing, boys, right? Let's do a bit of mathematics, okay? Let's take a quick mathematical break here, boys, right? Let's say we'll just round it up. You're getting paid $100,000 a year, right? Gross. Let's say after the net, you pay your 30% tax, or your YouTube tax, as I call it. You're now down to 70,000, right? Now, if we were to eliminate that 30% tax, it would be like multiplying your current salary by 50%, 1.5, right? To 105,000. It's a little over. It's technically like 1.42. So if you were to get rid of that 30% tax that you're paying, you're basically getting 50% extra in terms of your salary. Now, if you're just about surviving in terms of bills, rent, all this kind of shit, food, etc., etc., if you were to eliminate that tax, you'd have 50% more money. Would you not be in a much better off place? Would you not say, hey, I'm actually living comfy now with 50% extra of what you're currently getting? Like, think about it, like half the money you spend on all your bills and maintenance and all this kind of shit, you now have a disposable income. Is that not a better way? You know what I mean? The left have no strong debate about that, but the left is stupid about in a lot of regards. I get you, man. You know what I mean? But nobody wants to talk about lowering the tax. Everybody wants to talk about increasing the tax, and it drives me fucking insane. That's the main reason why I got involved in this whole shit. I was like, bro, we have to find a way out to lower the tax. And then I realized, oh no, there are ways to lower the tax. They just refuse to do it. Because they use all these like government systems and benefits just to get votes. And now they're importing in new voters because everybody, like, has the facade has dropped. Everybody sees past the illusion. You know what I mean? Overtime is time and a half, even at minimum wage, that's $15 to $16 an hour. You know what I mean? That's more than I fucking ask. I take a grift break every hour and I ask for $10. So, like, overtime, oh my God, this is unbelievable. We're EOD, we're now moving up the extensions to $15 minimum. Okay? Thank you for the information. We gotta adapt with this inflation. So yeah, like any more extensions, it's gonna be $15 minimum and 100%. Taxation is theft. 30% taxation, EOD. 30 fucking % on average. Oh my God. It's unbelievable. Unfucking believable. I say, man, just go back to fucking nobility. You know what I'm saying? We go back to like kingdoms and all this kind of shit. And if you're like, fuck this kingdom, you just go down the road and you say, listen, king, need a fucking job, hey. You know what I mean? But hey, let's get back to the Crowder. Our boy Josh is in a nice tuxedo. You know what I'm saying? Man after my own heart. You know? Who wore better, me or Josh? I think to be honest, I do have to be a bit humble here. I think Josh takes the cake. It's a nice tuxedo. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, even your 16-year-old kid working at McDonald's still pays 30% of their wages in taxes, and then that's not including the hidden tax as well, EOD. The taxes on your cigarettes, the taxes on your alcohol, the taxes on your food and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know that I saw.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I don't know
Well,
that I
some
do.
people just wear blue T-shirts, but other people care about their work.
And to be clear, when I say it has nothing to do with race, I don't mean that. I mean it has nothing to do with melanin. I mean it has nothing to do with your genetics if you are offended at the idea of being respectful, not being obnoxious and loud, not disrupting people next to you, not being violent, putting on some deodorant. What I'm saying is if you find that an affront to your sensibilities, then Ruth Chris isn't for you.
There you go. That is the thing. And trust me, I've worked in the restaurant industry and the wine industry for a very long time. I don't do that really anymore, but man, this was a problem there. They don't tell you this, but when you come in, they size you up and go, that person is sitting in the back of the restaurant where nobody can see them. And it's not about white, black, Hispanic. It's like they came in off the streets with shorts and a T-shirt and everybody else has dinner jackets on.
Yeah.
Like we're not setting the kind of environment that people want to come and spend money to be in if that's what they're going to see. And it's like, hey, just do it. I've gone to places, they had a jacket rule. I had no.
Bro, I can't remember. It might have been, no, it wasn't last week. I think it was 2 weeks ago. Like, Easy was on a panel and they showed a video of some bitch that gets a ticket. She rolls the ticket up in a ball and then throws it back out the window towards the cop. And they were like, oh, this cop had some attitude on him. And I was looking at them kind of going, are you fucking ridiculous? Like this whole attitude that I'm not going to have any respect for the police and then wonder why I have a bad interaction with the police. Do you know what I'm saying? Common sense has left the fucking building. You know what I mean? Dude, Ruth Chris's Steakhouse is super duper fancy anyhow. I don't know why anyone is up in arms about this. They serve $500 steaks there. God damn. I went to Ruth Chris, drove around the parking lot, then left. I can't afford that place. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. Because they think, like, I genuinely think the mentality is, oh, I'm paying so much money to be here, they better treat me like a king. And I was like, no. You pay that much because, like, they only want a specific type of clientele. They only want to, like, they want, like, the top 1%. So the way, like, when you're making a product, you can cater towards the masses, or you can cater towards the elites or the luxury. Like, there's the luxury. Like, what's the fucking on an airliner? You have the you have like first class, and then you have like economy class, right? It's the same thing with like restaurants and like other forms of business, all this kind of shit. You can cater towards the masses, which is your McDonald's, your Burger King, and all this kind of shit. Or there's this place, which is Ruth Chris's. I'm not American, so I've never been to this place, never heard of it before, but it seems like it's one of these like fancy, like what we'd call like, a fancy Italian restaurant kind of like type deal. You know what I mean? So in terms of the thing here is like you're going into the first class thinking, oh, like I own the first class or I own this building because I'm paying so much to be here. And it's like, no, the reason why the price is so high is they only want a particular set of people. They want like the because like when you think about like, let's say like nobility, right? If you're in the court of a king, like you're not just going to get there because like you're good at mathematics or you're good. It's because you believe in that aspect of the nobility, that like you actually respect the sovereign or the king, the sovereign, etc., etc. But you're showing up and saying, well, if I'm paying so much money, then I'm gonna act like I own the place. You can do that shit in McDonald's, but you ain't gonna do this shit in a fucking Italian restaurant. You know what I mean? I like shouting, "Are you detaining me?" while they have their foot in my neck. Hey, it is what it is. There's no common sense anymore. That's why I say to you, it left the fucking building, you know? First class and coach. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, if you're an airliner and you only do first class, like, that's your choice as a business person. But if a bunch of coach people show up and they act like they own first class, you're getting arrested as soon as the fucking plane lands. I don't give two fucks.
I didn't have a jacket. They were very nice. They went and got me a jacket. Nobody's going to be a jerk to you, but if you come in thinking you could just walk in flip-flops and your Nike sweats, go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. They don't want you there anyway.
I can't remember the last time that I ate at a Ruth's Chris, to be clear. So if you want to say elitism, no, they have the right to do it.
It's the low end of nice restaurants. I've done probably 100 wine dinners at those places.
Yeah.
And it's fine. It's good, but it's not high, fine dining.
Not all things are for all people.
Yeah.
You don't need a march because you have to go to Texas Roadhouse instead, which, by the way, is also fine. I enjoy Texas Roadhouse if I go.
If you like to go everywhere wearing sleeveless shirts, tank tops, and smelling like weed, guess what? The cooks at Applebee's do too.
Yes,
Go
exactly
get you
right.
2 for 20.
They love you.
The next one, United Airlines.
Oh, I love this one.
Hey, anyone want to say that air travel has been more pleasant lately? We'll get to the TSA in a second. They now require headphones on all devices that emit sound. And if you don't, it could result in a permanent ban.
Yes.
I have had to deal with this.
I hate
personally.
this.
I had someone playing whatever it was, some handheld video game at full volume.
I think this should be a rule in society, not
Yes.
Delta Airlines.
But think of the entitlement. Hey, other people don't want to hear your thing.
Well, how will I know they're cool, though?
That's a good point.
If I can't hear their Tupac song, I won't know they like old school hip hop.
Well,
it's not that, Josh. It's them talking to their grandma.
If they're smoking a cigarette, you already know they're pretty cool.
Ah, well.
That's a good point.
So,
Can't smoke on planes.
Hey, you guys got to put on headphones. Does that seem reasonable, guys? Does that seem reasonable? By the way, maybe this is why they implemented the rule.
I paid money for it, and I played a video for 30 seconds, and 50%.
How about no seconds?
And notice, like, it's not a skin color thing. It's literally a fucking attitude. You have the wrong fucking attitude. Get the fuck.
And that's the reason you're kicking me off?
Yes.
Because I said that sounds like a you problem. You'll stop.
Because you...
Looks like a 747, which means it's a longer flight. People are trying to sleep.
Didn't accept that, and that sounds like a damn
Yeah. Here's... I don't...
Dude,
everyone hates...
That sound like a damn... It's like the Mean Girl shit. It's like, oh my god. Holy shit, boys.
You. Just to be clear, everyone in your vicinity hates you. This person likely asked them, hey, could you mind turning it down? That sounds like a you problem.
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? Return volley, it just became a you problem. Enjoy the bus.
He said everybody hates you, including your husband, who's sitting right there.
I mean...
Like anybody's going to have sympathy for you? You're like the heckler at the comedy club. Nobody, shut up. Nobody wants you here.
Get off the plane.
But you live in a country where you have people where they can't even fathom that it's rude for someone else to be forced to listen to your crap. By the way, the same thing would apply if they're playing music that I like. I don't know if you know this. When I choose to play music, there's a play button that I press. I'm in charge of...
Yeah, but Mangoes, the reason why I'm saying it's like, it's nothing got to do with skin color. It's because like I know like Irish people that like, that act like that. Do you know what I mean? We call them knackers, right? Or travelers, pikeys. You know what I mean? Like this whole thing. One sec. We even have the clip, folks.
Why the fuck do I want a caravan? It's got no fucking wheels.
Like that kind of like culture. It's like, yeah, you're not in the right place, pal. You know what I mean? Come back another day. You know what I mean? Or whatever line you need to give them to get them to fuck off.
When it plays, not you blaring it at any moment you so choose. This was pretty commonly accepted as public decorum. Let's go to Carnival Cruise Lines. They have some new rules.
It's more difficult this way.
So these are specific. And of course, people say, oh, it's racist. They banned Bluetooth speakers. They have a 1 a.m. curfew on minors. They've increased marijuana enforcement. I'm noticing that as a trend. You always hear these people like, if you drink too much, you go and you beat your wife and you start a fight. You smoke weed, you sit on the couch and eat some Pringles, or you blare music on your Bluetooth at the municipal pool as a 16-year-old at 2 or 3 a.m. It's not a miracle drug that just makes you friendly and likable to everyone. There are plenty of people I've met who are insufferable when they're out of their mind on weed. Not everybody, but some, just like some people can't hold their alcohol. However, regular exercise, Carnival Cruise is still encouraged.
Oh, I better back it up. World Star! World Star!
So, no Bluetooth speakers, 1 a.m. curfew on minors. And by the way, you can't just reek of weed and waft it around everyone else's cabin. Do these seem like reasonable restrictions? Again, customer
Arg, me mateys, we be making them walk the plank. The seas be a cruel mistress, so they do be. Crack out the rum, boys.
satisfaction is at an all-time low across the board in the service industry. To me, these are baby steps. I'd like to see them go quite a bit further.
Yeah.
What do you think the reaction has been?
That's racist!
Exactly right.
Carnival has turned this into such a racially charged situation, and them not coming out.
No, bitch, that's you. That's all you can do is like, I don't like this, ergo it's racist. It's called having manners, you goofy bitch.
Out to speak on it or like make a statement or anything. Oh, okay. A lot of their decisions they're making, like no rap music, no fans, no boots on the ground, it seems very racially motivated. I'm not gonna hold you.
Carnival Cruise Line does not like black people, and they don't want black people taking their cruises, okay?
Correct.
It started off with the speakers, telling people that they can't bring speakers no more. Why would you not want people to be able to bring speakers and listen to their own music?
We don't.
Because it's your own music, dumbass.
Yeah.
Headphones in.
It's not my own music, it's your own
I was
music.
just know how they threaten, like, you do that, you ain't gonna have black people on your cruise.
Oh yeah, like that's what.
Oh, no.
Carnival Cruise. Oh no! Don't boycott us.
Please,
Oh, what will we do? Shoot.
Basically, we got an announcement. Spirit Cruise Lines has just launched, so fill in the gap.
You know what's funny? She just described what headphones are.
Yes.
Why can't I bring a musical device that plays music for my own self?
Yes.
You can.
Yeah. 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 I don't know if you...
People are so stupid. If I want to get in a fight by a pool, I'll do it at my house.
Like, think about this. Even people who used to break dance, like in the 80s, they do it on a corner. They, lay down a cardboard box. They weren't just going into your store, like, watch this, watch this. They weren't just doing it everywhere. People understood even back then, like, all right, this is a subculture. Headphones. Headphones. You waste a bunch of money on frivolities. I guarantee you have top-of-the-line headphones. I have no doubt about that. So they say it's racist. Do they have a case? Well, maybe they looked at a lot of the videos and said, oh, well, Carnival is clearly implementing this policy because of this.
Hey! Oh, welcome to the motherfucking cruise. No, not me, man. Hold on. There it goes.
Hey, no, not me.
Oh, there it goes. God damn.
I got a different one.
I love the way the security guard is actually running away. He's like, nah, fuck this. This is like mangoes. Motherfucker, I'm only getting minimum wage. Okay? This ain't worth fucking minimum wage, boss. Look at this. He's running away. He sees the camera. He's like, oh no, it is being filmed. I must act with honor. And then he's like,
different
he
one.
just slowly walks back. Yeah, guys, you shouldn't be doing this. Even the security guard is just like, fuck that shit.
They ran out of steak in the buffet.
Good job,
He walks away.
Somebody asked him if they could swim.
I just imagine Mangoes just be like, you know what? I quit. Fuck this. Maybe if you had to give me a pay rise, keep up with fucking inflation. You know what I mean? Fuck. That's actually the funniest shit with the security guard, I'm not gonna lie. That was fucking hilarious. He was just like, fuck this shit, man. Or maybe like if it was your last day, Mangoes, if you knew you were quitting the job anyway, and don't lie about this, Mangoes, You be in there in the middle of it, giving like people the people's elbow, the rock bottom. Like, you'd be using all your WWE moves from childhood and all this kind of shit. You'd be like doing the whole Rey Mysterio. You'd be bouncing off the fucking like food top counter. You know what I'm saying? You don't know enough karate to that shit off. Bruce Lee himself wouldn't fuck with that, but Chuck Norris would. Am I right, boys? Actually, we have a no contact policy. Bro, what can I say? Well, fuck. It is what it is, boys. It is what it is. You touch someone, then you get sued. Seriously. Well, that was one thing that when I worked in the pub, it was like, so if there's ever going to be a fight, the golden rule was like, make sure they're not on the premises when they do it. So literally, there was one day where like two lads were having a go at each other, and they both went out, and I basically followed them out and was like, lads, okay, just make sure you're off the property. They literally beat the fuck out of each other, right? Then one dude picked the other dude up, and then they literally went back into the pub and they drank for the rest of the day. Together, like having a laugh and all this kind of shit. You know what I mean? Yeah, the company gets sued because it's on their property. So like that's why I was like, lads, fucking cross the street. You know what I mean? So they cross the street and then they just start knocking the fucking shit out of each other. You know? Exactly. Just by blinking. And it'd be boom. Be over.
This lady didn't have all the tickets she needed. She didn't pay for them.
Yeah, right, dude. Good luck.
Good luck.
That's
Throw her off the ship like that.
These poor Jamaicans trying to bring. You know what though? If you had a ticket for like a top deck, not a bad show to watch.
No, I get it.
You know?
Yeah, I understand that. But here's the thing: people will go, "Oh, the marginalized, oh, the disenfranchised," and you'll have someone take up this cause. When you
the disenfranchised, the fucking unruly, the unmannerly, the fucking ignorant. Oh my god, man!
Scream victim
when it's forklift. Yeah, because you can see, like as soon as they try to pick it up, like Josh is just like, "Yeah, good luck, bro." Like, look at this initial lift.
Yeah, right, dude. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, right, dude. Good fucking luck to you. You know what I'm saying? Fire up the crane, boys.
Throw her off the ship like that.
These poor Jamaicans trying to bring. You know what though? If you had a ticket for like a top deck, not a bad show to watch.
No, I get it.
You know?
Yeah, I understand that. But here's the thing: people will go, "Oh, the marginalized, oh, the disenfranchised," and you'll have someone take up this cause. When you scream victim, when it's fake, when you scream victim, you don't realize there are actual victims. I want you to think of something for a second. You know, this person can be a black person. Just to be clear, since this black community who screams the loudest online, who we avoid like the plague, just to be clear, and it's your fault. Meaning the people in these videos, the people who behave that way and say this represents blackness, first off, I don't agree with you across the board. I think you're more accurate than many people care to admit, but I'm going to separate you from a working class black dad who uses up his vacation days and wants to take his family on a cruise because it's something he was never able to do, and he wants his children to have some experiences that he didn't. And he shows up and he has to deal with that. That's the actual victim. The guy who got a dog sitter, the guy who made sure that someone picked up his mail, the guy who told his kids that if they got their grades up, they'd be able to go on a cruise. And you know what? Sure, they can kick them off. You don't get that back. That's now the experience. Yeah. In many cases, the cruise, the dinner at Ruth's Chris, the flight is ruined. So now, all that's really taking place is a preemptive measure to enforce the regulations, the expectations that already existed but were completely denied and ignored out of a sense of entitlement. That's the issue. So it's a binary choice that you have to make as far as your judgment. Either these are very reasonable restrictions Not flip-flops, not tank tops. You can't smell like weed, for example. Can't be showing your cooch at Ruth's Chris. Or you can't bring in a boombox as a minor at 2 a.m. smoking weed on the deck. These are either reasonable restrictions for private businesses to improve what they want to be their customer base and their experience therein, or black people are choosing to include this as a part of their identity. When they say those restrictions, those are racist against us, you're saying that that's what you plan to do, meaning you feel entitled to be loud, to be invasive, to be inconsiderate, to be messy, to be disruptive, to be violent, and smelly.
Hold up. Wait a minute.
That wasn't necessary.
We're talking about the weed smell.
Yeah, I know. I meant.
Right?
It was necessary.
Well, look, how would you react if I said, like, hey, by the way, just so you guys know, the law is you obviously can't rob somebody on the subway or you're going to go to jail. Well, that discriminates against us black people. I'm like, oh, you were planning on robbing someone at the subway.
Yes. Well,
right?
The mayor of Chicago actually just said this. I don't know if we can find the post. He said, you can't solve the violent crime problem by putting people in jail. That's racist. And I was like,
you can't solve
violent crime problem just by putting people in jail.
Want to bet?
That's racist.
So does that mean
Maybe
white
old
people
quote.
aren't being violent?
Signore, Bukele and Millet would like to have a conversation with you, amigo. Because they literally said, yeah, we're just going to lock up like the most aggressive, like 1% of the population. And oh shit, crime actually plummeted. Who would have thought? Who would have fucking thought?
Because I thought that white people were being violent too.
Yeah. Yeah, many
That's
of them
what
are.
I thought.
Here's the difference, though, too, that we all need to acknowledge. With white people, most of them, and of course, when you add substances, it changes. You guys can let me know if you think I'm way off base. This is a generalization. Not all, not all, not all. Usually, if a white guy is out of line, like you kind of saw with Justin Timberlake, they go like, all right, you got me. Once the authorities come in, they, because they have shame, they want to save themselves the embarrassment, especially if they have family members, if someone is out of line. Usually there's a way, because we sort of have a verbal, an unwritten agreement of, all right, now this is escalated and we're not going to deal with this anymore. I guarantee you far more often when Ruth Chris turns away a white guy or white lady because their clothes are too revealing or they're wearing a sleeveless shirt, I guarantee you far more often they might go like, oh yeah, well, okay, fine, I don't want to eat here anyway, but they leave. It's not a mob attack.
No.
I've been asked to leave a nightclub when I was younger.
So was I.
I was wearing a hat. They said I couldn't wear my hat in there, and I had just recently got a really bad military haircut, and so I said, well, I am not doing that, so goodbye.
Yeah.
Right.
Mine was blue jeans. I had blue jeans on, and they were like, we don't like no denim. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
No big deal. I mean, listen, these restaurants have the ability to do that. I don't know if you understand what fine dining is, like something beyond just like the regular. I'm like giant swath of fine dining. It's an experience. It's not just the food.
No, it's just some duck or something.
No, it's not. It's going to a nice place where you know it's going to be, the noise level's not going to be crazy. People aren't going to be yelling, but it's not going to be super quiet and stiff. It's going to be good food and really good service. And maybe it's a special night out for an anniversary. And I don't want to have to worry about the World Star incident happening on the table next to me because I'm spending a lot of money. And maybe it's the one time a year that I get to do that.
Yeah.
And you are just so selfish that you think everything is about you and everybody wants to hear what you have to say. That's just not true in life. And so they're saying, hey, if you're going to show like a disrespect for yourself, then we don't want you in here doing it.
They did the same thing with Rudy Giuliani, right? The broken windows theory. He said, no subways, leave. No subways go back out with any graffiti on them.
Not at all.
Because if people see their stuff clean, if people see order, they will want to maintain it because they benefit from it. And people said that was racist. And they'll say, oh, the shakedowns and the first. Sure, but they thought that simply cleaning everything up was also racist.
Right.
And this is the problem, right? If you leave, it's white flight. And if you stay, it's gentrification. Same thing would happen with Carnival Cruise Lines. If white people just said, everyone other than the hood rat, according to that lady, right? That hood, they come, these hood people still gonna be hood. If everyone but them said, we're not going to go, they would be upset and say, oh, so these people are racist. Well, it's a no-win proposition. So how about this? It's really simple. Act decently, and in most cases, you'll get the occasional racist. I guarantee you. I guarantee you, if you act decently, you will mostly be treated decently. Someone who's watching who's from one of these videos, or maybe some of these rules apply to you. Look, take this challenge. Use headphones instead of Bluetooth speakers. Don't smell like weed. Don't yell, scream, be inconsiderate, dress like a prostitute, and expect to have your way. Just don't do any of those things. I'm willing to bet you'll encounter a whole lot less racism. Come back to me. Let me know how it works out. Hey, do you like what you...
And again, here's the, like, one could call it pattern recognition, all this kind of shit, right? What was, like, the commonality in all those videos? Like, when we looked across the board, right? And I'm not talking about skin color, right? If we were to eliminate the skin color, because, like, one of the bitches was basically white. I don't know, she had a bit of, like, Middle Eastern in her or something like that. There was something funny going on. But, like, it's not like a melanin thing. It's not like, oh, like, I perceive you to be white or I perceive you to be black, ergo I'm going to treat you different. Because we've seen that, right? But what was the commonality across all those videos, gentlemen? Let me know. Let's see who gets the first correct answer. I'm going to take a piss while you get your answers in chat. Let's see the answers. Let's see the answers. El Picasso says they have no fucking respect. That's what? No. The commonality in all those videos, gentlemen, was the women's. Notice, like, almost every single one of those videos, it was like the women that were fucking like in the middle of the brawl. Like, I'm pretty sure you could point out, let's say, like, one dude who's throwing a chair and all this kind of shit, but you could be damn sure it was the women that, like, basically caused all this shit, right? So, folks, like I said, huge shout out to everyone that donated today. We had an actually pretty good day for the film room. You know what I'm saying? Usually film rooms are typically our slow days, but like I said, we got over half the way there for the dono goal. Shout out to yous. And everyone in chat, shout out to you too. Even if you just came by, you hit the like button, maybe subscribe, you know, or just like chat, talk a bit of shit in chat, you know what I'm saying? The back and forth, appreciate that too. But like I was pointing out the whole stream, folks, like shit is clearly getting serious and more serious by the day. And there's going to be a lot of shit thrown at you. Like especially with the whole like Tucker Carlson thing and all that kind of stuff. A lot of people going, but Tucker was based, and maybe he's just misguided and all this kind of shit. It is what it is, right? And there might be a counter argument thrown at me saying, shut the fuck up, Leprechaun. You're a foreigner. Why should we trust you? And my retort is simple. I'm not asking you to trust me, gentlemen. I'm simply asking you to trust your president. Okay? Just remember that. Trust your president. The guy who 10 years ago gave up everything to try and save America. To try and save your culture. Okay? With that, we'll end as we have been ending for the past week or so by saying God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. And I'll see you all tomorrow.
Why wouldn't you dedicate yourself to public service?
Because I think it's a very mean life. I would love and I would dedicate my life to this country, but I see it as being a mean life. And I also see it as somebody with strong views and somebody with the kind of views that are maybe a little bit unpopular, which may be right, but may be unpopular.
I am your voice. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I say these words to you tonight. I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. We will make America strong again. We will make America safe again.